keeping a watch on these robots. Dude, I was telling you about there's like one that it's not like a humanoid robot. It was more of like a just like a piece of machinery almost, but it was they were using it to build a house. Like it was like an AI like uh I don't know, like it was like heavy equipment, but it's a robot and it could just sit out there and move bricks all day. And it said it did the work of a 12-man crew, you know.
It was AI too, or was just like
Yeah, I think it's AI power. I mean, they're gonna put AI in everything. They're gonna put AI in the dogs.
it's 12 men without a job right there, dude. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, like obviously it's the early stages, but it's coming so fast, and it doesn't have to stop. It doesn't have to take a lunch break. It doesn't need the sun to see. It just can see in the dark and keep laying bricks all day. And
Yeah, and it'll be there every day. It'll be there on time every day. It takes out so many of like the human fallacies that just people have when it comes to stuff like that. If this thing can just do the strength and work of 12 men and, and you don't have to pay it anything except for what you pay to get it there, a one-time fee, or you lease it, whatever. But then, it's still, imagine 12 people's salary. It's got to be less than that, whatever that fucking thing costs.
yeah, and there's there's no liability. You're not gonna be worried about someone getting hurt on the job. It's like
Yeah.
dude, things are gonna be crazy. And then I had the thought, dude, we have one of those Roombas, just it's like 10 years ago, like a Roomba was like the craziest thing. Like, oh my gosh, the vacuum moves by itself. But now you look at it and it's like, this is the dumbest piece of technology. Like, imagine once they put an AI in the Roomba.
Yeah, you're
Mine's
gonna
always,
shoot up in your bed in the middle of the night, and it's gonna be sitting at the edge of your door, spin around and zoom down the hallway when it notices you're looking at it.
it's terrifying. And then I go, the Roomba was like, we had the babies out in the living room or whatever. And so I tried to turn the Roomba off. I pushed the power button and it didn't turn off. Dude, it kept going. And I don't know. I just had this thought like, you're going to be going to work out in the basement. You have your robot trainer down there, and it's going to be spotting you on the bench press. And all of a sudden, you're struggling, and that fucking robot's going to push down. We can't trust them.
Yeah, dude, it's that stuff, man. It's just uncharted territory. Like, and the bad thing is with how the world is, everybody's in this mad dash to make it better than the other person. So you're just pumping money into it, pumping time, pumping effort, trying to get this thing better than the next, with no thoughts of that shit. Like when it gets to that stage, what do you do?
I don't know, man. The Roomba wouldn't turn off. Like you're gonna be you're gonna be gasping for air on the fucking bench bar or with the bench bar on your throat, and you're gonna be reaching for the power button on that droid, and it's not gonna turn off.
The fucking swapping batteries on itself.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, we gotta let's get serious. Let's snag out the intro.
Yeah, who we got on, man? Who we got upcoming?
We got a one of our most highly requested guests so far, I think, and we're gonna be referring to him as Horton. That's what we know him as. His name's James Horton, and I think the best way to introduce him is to tell the story of how I first met him. So
Yeah.
everyone listening is going to be starting off at the same same spot I started, and it 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 was my very first day. I checked in 29 Palms 37 India Company, and I had gone down for formation, and we were all there. Weapons platoon was there, but I think a lot of guys were gone, and but Horton was like taking he was getting roll call for like everyone who was there, and I remember he goes down the line, and then he looks over at me and he just goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, Corporal Lawless, and and but Fletcher was there, and he was just like, hey, he's with us, and so props to Fletcher for he had my back. He probably regrets it, after time went on, but then Horton was like, all right, sounds good, so I think that's that's a good way to really paint the picture of the intensity of this man, but also once he has the full picture, I always knew him as very fair and very kind, um,
Yeah.
and it's really one of those guys where you're like, I'm glad he's on our fucking side.
Oh yeah.
That's there, there's a lot of those, but then again, there's not that many of those. So you know,
Yeah,
it's
he's one of the
important.
most solid guys I ever worked with, and funny as hell too. Intense, takes the job seriously, but always a good laugh too, man. So I'm looking forward to talking to him, and I urge anybody that's popping into this. I know a lot of people are gonna pop in that know Horton, but if you don't, stick around for the episode because I'm sure there's gonna be a couple stories that you don't even have to know the situation to get a laugh, and it'd be cool, I think, to hear and get to meet this man through this environment as well, because it might be one of the only chances you get to meet somebody like this guy. Oh shit.
Fucking boys, how we doing?
Doing good, brother. What's up, man?
Fucking another day, another dollar, man.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
it's good to see you.
Likewise.
Thanks for doing this with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're excited. Last time, last time I saw you, I think we are in Moore's barracks room
Yeah, yeah. Right
in
before you guys were getting out, I think.
what's that?
What's that?
Yeah, I think we were right about to get out, and you came to visit us, and that was a fun
Yeah, I was
day.
here for. I was going through IULC.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm fucking stationed here in this bullshit side of the country.
So you're in you're living around the Camp Lejeune area,
I,
or do you live on base?
I live on Lejeune, but I work at Geiger.
Oh, okay.
Shit, man.
Dude, we were like talking about some old stories and stuff a couple of days ago, and dude, the funniest thing that we always revert back to, and you might not even remember this, but you know how like when we were in Kuwait, we used to go on those buses to go back and forth, and we'd put on polos and stuff
Yeah,
so we wouldn't. And there was one there was one day in particular. I for- I think we were like we had to stop somewhere. We're just sitting on this hot bus. It's like 110 degrees or whatever, and of course somebody farts, and it was like one of the worst. the, like it smelled like someone shit themselves. Like people are pissed or whatever, and I think you were sitting like a few rows behind me and Nick, and you just you got so mad, and you were yelling at everyone on the bus, and you were like, "Who did this?" And like everyone was just silent, and there was like officers, some higher enlisted on the bus as well, and like we were just sergeants, I believe at the time, and you you had no fear. You didn't give a shit that day. You like you were just yelling, and nobody would own up to it,
Wasn't it
and
fucking Jenkins?
it might have been.
I thought it was fucking Trevor's bitch ass that did it.
We're gonna have to question him when he gets on here.
It was either Trevor
Yeah.
But,
or fucking Andy. It was one of the two. I'm almost positive.
dude, it was so funny. You were like, you were saying like, whoever did this, you're a coward for not admitting it.
Remember that shit?
Dude, I remember I was laughing so hard. I was worried that you were gonna think it was me, but like it was just one of those days, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. But
Those fucking
it's
deployments, man. Those deployments were something else, dude.
it's it's just one of those days where it sucked at the time, but then you look back and it was like in your mind it was a good day, but it really wasn't. you know?
None of those fucking days were good. There were like fun things that kind of livened it up a little bit, but outside of that those fucking deployments suck, bro. Just the temperature alone at that place, 110 with humidity, was just miserable.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
nonstop.
And we didn't even have it bad. Like our platoon wasn't even bad. We had who was old fucking Bobby Neal and Rockwood, old fucking Lieutenant
Yeah.
Rockwood, old stupid ass. But second, they had it bad. Tomlin fucking trying to fight off uh, uh, Ball and who is the fucking platoon sergeant's name? That stupid, that fucking goofy ass staff sergeant.
Wait,
Oconus
with
Jones, staff sergeant OJ.
Oh shit, yeah, dude.
oh,
Yeah, I forgot about his head.
that was before my time.
God
Oh my
damn,
god, dude, he was something else.
that was rough. That was the first time that I ever saw Fletcher like get absolutely belligerent with someone, and it was with fucking Ball and OJ.
Yeah.
So how's life for
So
you? How's life been for you guys, man?
it's been this past year for me has been like on fast forward. I've got twin daughters now. They're
Damn.
7 months old. Yeah, so I'm coming out of the sleep deprivation stage. You know, they're finally sleeping at night now, so we're trying to do more episodes like after they go to bed.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been great. Like I've been really happy, and you know, we we're excited to be able to do this more. We want to reconnect with especially you guys that are still out there getting after it. And but yeah, man, things have been good for us.
Good.
Yeah, it's been good too, man. I got two kids now too. My son's 5, and my daughter just turned 8 months. So it's been
Damn.
wide open, but it's been so much fun, man. Like busy as hell, working and fucking, you know, the kids getting into sports now, but that shit's so much fun, man. It's just madness at this age of my son.
Oh
He's
yeah.
5 years old. A bunch of 5-year-olds trying to play soccer, dude. They're just running around in circles and tackling each other. I just sit on the lawn chair and just have a blast, man.
This is a non-contact sport. How are all of you hurt?
Yeah, dude. Like at least one kid gets hurt every time we go to practice.
Yeah, man. Fucking, I'm here at SOI now. I'm actually due to rotate here pretty soon this year, and my oldest my oldest turns 15 next month.
Whoa,
My middle turns 13 in June, and my daughter turns 3 in 2 days.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
yeah, dude, we're gonna have to. You're gonna have to pass along some advice for us because we're. Well, I mean, for me, just getting started. For Nick, the oldest is 5. Gonna be. He'll be 6 over the summer, right?
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
as much as I would like to help, I mean, shit, man. Like, I had the boys, and then trying to think. I had the boys, and then when Brantley was 6 months old, the kids and their mom moved back to Tennessee because I plan on getting out after my first enlistment, and then
Hmm.
we had some shit go down at an ITX, and ended up calling, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on, and she was like, I want a separation. I'm like, cool. So I didn't end up seeing my kids, but for once a year until once a year for 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, probably once a year for 7 years. And then shit just went south with their mom, and I got custody of the kids, and now they're here with me.
That's
Oh
good shit.
wow.
Yeah.
So I can't really give any advice on the early years because I wasn't able to be present for a lot of it, not by my own choice, but
Right. Yeah, that's I know a couple of other guys with a similar situation where after a little bit of back and forth running around whatever, and then they ended up gaining the father ended up gaining custody, um, and I can't imagine how you're pulling that off.
well,
It's,
I have a wife that is just out of this world. That's how I pull it off.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the biggest thing, man. Have that support system.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I would have had to have gotten out.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the
Well,
biggest thing that's so fucked too, man. You talked about in like the early years with that. You're screwed when you're in. There's not much you can do. There's no, you can't just bounce whenever you want. You can't go and do a bunch of things to try to support yourself. And 9 times out of 10, the court system's going to rule in the favor of the mom, off the get go to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
fucked.
they initially did, and she just happened to fuck up at the right time in the right places and the right
Yep.
amount of times, and it just paid in my favor, I guess.
That's good shit, man. You deserve that.
what so why why were you initially going to get out? Just to be more present with the family,
Yeah.
or
I mean, fuck, man. Like, I got married in. Oh, I got married in November. No, either late 2010 or early. No, I think I got married early 2010, right before my first deployment, and then I left, and then I wasn't able to see my son again until he was 9 months old, and at that point, I got a house. She moved out to Hawaii, and let's see, that was in December of 2011. No, December 2010. We came back, and then we were gone again in October of 2011, and then we came back right around May or June, I think, again of 2012, and then I deployed again in mid 13. So like it was just
well,
Back to
that was
back to
back when we
back.
didn't have the whole year long workups, man. Like it wasn't like that. My seniors, I got to the fleet with my seniors when I Iraq, and July of '09, I got to the fleet. They came back. I just missed it. They came back in December ish, and then we were in Afghanistan in June. So like I had a 6 month workup.
Yeah.
It
wow.
was awesome. I loved it. I mean, I got
Right.
what I wanted and shit. But now it's like you have 12 month, 18 months, 24 month fucking dwell times where you're just doing a deployment for training, and it's like I don't fucking want to do that. It's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I, I think a lot of people um, have echoed that feeling about it. It could definitely break guys down when 18 months, especially in 29 Palms, 18 months, 29 Palms. Then you go to another desert to
Mhm.
kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, it was demoralizing, but What so and like you'll have to correct us along the way if we get anything wrong, or just to clarify things because we haven't really got to talk a lot about your early career. I feel like was your first duty station in Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. I was 3-3, 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines.
What um what was it like getting in there? You said the guys were deployed at the time, so were you stuck with? Was it a good liaisons that remain behind? I know sometimes they can leave some of the questionables behind.
Um, I think I got very lucky. I got very lucky in general. I don't want to say that I had. Let's see. I don't want to say this. I had one person that got there as a sergeant. I'll backtrack. We had very tactically savvy people because like all of my seniors were like the Fallujah, the Ramadi, the fucking early the push dudes, right? So I had all those fucking salty bastards and uh, that were the dudes that got there and were with the remain behind element to kind of school us up. Most of them weren't good leaders, but they were very tactically sound because they had been there, they'd experienced it, they've done all their shit. Um, and then it was just 6 months of just fucking haze fest, dude. Just rough. Uh, and I'm not talking
Build
like
some
gaslighting
character.
in the fucking shower with bleach or anything like that. It was good training. Like
Yeah.
I have been hazed, but it wasn't by those dudes. Those dudes were like the ones that were there for accountability. They PT'd us. They made sure we were in shape. They made sure we were fucking smart. Um, when my seniors came back from Iraq, like my peer group was smarter than the majority of them because of the dudes that stayed back and taught us all this shit. But um, like once that happened, though, once the companies get back or the battalion gets back, like and you break out to your companies, you don't see a lot of those guys anymore. A lot of them went to Kilo and Lima and shit, and the only ones I saw were the dudes that were weapons platoon that attached to India Company or the India Company centric guys. So, but I mean, it wasn't terrible.
And then yeah, that is such a quick turnaround. 6 months where you get to actually work with your team leader and squad leader, and then you said Iraq was first.
No, so
No, you went to Afghanistan first.
I went to Afghanistan first. The 3-3 did their last Iraq deployment was my seniors.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'd have joined right out of high school, I would have made it.
Mm.
So
Damn.
Who
Yeah.
we've talked about it on the show before with some of the other guys, but like, I feel that people's experience based on like their first team leader, their first squad leader can really like make or break. You know, some guys are just ready to get out in their first workup because they just hate their team leader and things like that. Like, who stood out to you during that time? Did you gain a lot from your leaders in those days, or
I don't, and this isn't me saying that he didn't do it, but I don't remember being taught a lot of shit by my squad leader. As soon as my seniors got back from Iraq, I didn't meet my team leader until midway through the workup because he came back from deployment and went right into squad leaders course. But his A slash, he taught me a lot. Um, what's his name? John Evans. John Evans. He taught me a lot. Him and Carlos Belmont. Those two, they taught me a lot. And Evans had like no negative paperwork on him like at all. He was just a Marine that was fucking there. Belmont, like by the time he got out, he had 4 NJPs and he was that. But he taught me the most, honestly. Um, he probably taught me the most just because it was all trial and error with that guy. So The other dudes is like, oh, what's this acronym? What's this acronym? What's this? It's like, okay, I can fucking memorize acronyms, man, but I need to know these other things. And he would
Mhm.
be that dude that it's like you're doing something, he tells you how to do it, you do it wrong, he slaps the fuck out of you, and then you're like, okay, that rocked my shit, and then you do it right the next time, type thing. But
Yeah.
he was a good dude. I still talk to him every now and again. Him and Evans, my team leader. Um, he was a good dude, in my opinion. Um, I don't necessarily think that he was a good Marine. He wasn't terrible. Like he didn't teach me any bad shit, but he just wasn't. He wasn't like what you expect a team leader. Like once you deploy the first time, and like once you have a good leader, you kind of look back and it's like, wow, that guy was not. He wasn't cutting it, type thing.
Right. Yeah.
Was so I'm curious, like what who was that leader for you that because I mean, I when I met you, you were a sergeant, and you know, one of the best sergeants I had ever worked with. So obviously, there was somebody that had to imprint some of those things onto you to become that kind of, or unless maybe it was kind of on your own.
Um, Give me 1 second. It's cold as shit in my house. I'm gonna go turn the AC up real quick. Give me a second.
Okay,
All right, brother.
I'll do 37 minute.
Mm-hmm. I'll mark it too on this thing.
Goddamn frozen chosen in my house right now. Um,
Yeah, one's pumping right now too. I'm gonna be in that same boat here in a second.
so my company Gunny, he was just a force to be reckoned with. He's actually still in right now. I think he's either a MEU or a MEF sergeant major. I'm not sure, but he's still in. And obviously, like as a PFC and Lance Corporal, you don't see much of your company Gunny. But when I
Yeah,
did see him, it was like that's the dude that I want to be like. Like I want to be that hard motherfucker because he didn't take any shit, and he knew everything that he was always talking about. He always had an answer no matter what. Um, but from the get go, I didn't know it at the time because he was one of those dudes that was there for us for RBE. But Sergeant Chenault, whenever he got to the fleet, it was Sergeant Chenault. And then I didn't see him at all really on my first deployment because he was attached to the our mobile platoon. And then the second deployment to Afghanistan, he ended up going to IULC and becoming my platoon sergeant. But that guy, I owe everything in my entire career up from Lance Corporal on. He has been the like idol of mine. He has been my main mentor my entire career. We had the thing that kind of solidified it for me was we were at ITX or Mojave Viper or whatever the fuck they called it back then.
hmm
And we had a security force sergeant who was just fucking hot dog shit, dude. Just terrible. And he was the one that was supposed to take over as squad leader. And because somebody was moving, I don't remember the exact dynamics of what happened, but either way, we were running back from a dry run on 410 Alpha, one of the two. And excuse me, he was like, "Hey Horton, do you want to be a squad leader?" And I was like, "Eventually, staff sergeant, but I don't think I'm ready right now." He's like, "No, shut the fuck up. That's not what I asked you." I was like, "Roger that, staff sergeant." He's like, "Do you want to be a squad leader?" And I kind of looked at him. He looked at me. And I looked back at him, and he was like, "Do you want to be a squad leader?" And I was like, "Yes, staff sergeant, I want to be a squad leader." He's like, "All right, cool. I'm going to see what I can make happen." I was like, "Okay, all right, man. Whatever." And I don't remember when I went to squad leaders course, but fucking I think after ITX, I ended up becoming a squad leader for that deployment. Yeah, I was a Lance Corporal squad leader on my second deployment.
Yeah.
Damn.
But
Speaking
yeah,
of,
he was that guy, and he stayed that guy the entire time that I've known him. I actually just was able to go to his retirement late last year. Retired as a gunner, 24 years.
that's fucking
Wow,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lance Corporal, where did that photo of you holding that owl? How did that come about? Where the fuck did you find that thing?
Yeah.
We were on a fucking. So the goofy bastard in the background is my corpsman. One of the best corpsmen that I've ever had of my entire career, bro. That guy is a fucking character. Scott Mattingly. Fucking shout out to that guy. But he cared about his Marines more than probably anybody that I think that I've ever worked with since that deployment, corpsman wise. But we were on a security patrol, man, and we were cutting through someone's fucking property or whatever you call it in that shithole, and this kid's just sitting there with this fucking owl, just holding it by its legs, and I'm like, "Yo, let me see it." And he was like, no, give me money. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I gave him a fucking dollar. And I give this kid this dollar, a single dollar bill, and he is shitting his fucking pants. He hands me the owl, runs off to his fucking parents. But I take this fucking owl, and I'm just chilling, just holding it. So I took the picture. I was like, okay, I gave the owl back to the kid, and we carried on about our way.
Yeah, we put it up on the Instagram. I don't know if you saw it on there, but the dude that took the picture actually commented on it. He said, I took this picture back when he was Lance Corporal Horton and my squad leader. So best Marine I've ever known.
I deleted Instagram, man. Was it Jake Fisher?
Jake, yeah.
Yeah, he's good people, too. He was probably one of my best team leaders that I've ever had.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome, man. That's cool
Yeah,
as shit.
he's a good dude.
So that was that deployment where you got kind of into that squad leader role then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was luckily it wasn't. That was a dead deployment. At least for our platoon, there wasn't shit that went on. We had the opportunity to fucking, but half of my platoon, not half my platoon, but we had damn near a squad's worth, a half a squad's worth, something like that. Ended up popping for fucking smoking bud on the deployment.
Oh.
Dude, push.
Yeah, the dude that fucking controls the shitters, the guy that was cleaning out all of our porter johns. He lived in a Connex box on the compound with us, and he was just fucking toking away every night. And the dudes found out, and they just started smoking with the guy. They ended up getting caught. They popped for the piss test right before this big ass clearing up down way down south in LAR's AO was going on, and I mean it was still cool for me because our platoon couldn't go. First platoon ended up going. I think it was first platoon. One of the other platoons ended up going, and when they left, I was like the next runner up, I guess, to take over their fob. So here I am, this Lance Corporal fucking squad leader in Afghanistan. I don't know shit about nothing about from my ass from a hole in the ground. And I'm down here at this fob, running this fob while the rest of the company's on this fucking clearing op. So it was fun. It was a good learning experience. My company Gunny at the time threatened to walk down there and beat my ass.
Oh, shit.
What for?
So our generator went down, and we had no oil. We had none of the shit that we needed. So I had the oil from the Afghan National Army guys, and I fucked up and said something about it over the radio, and I was like, so and so, just so we're aware, we owe the Afghan, we owe the ANA some oil. And he was like, I don't give shit to the fucking ANA, and I don't take shit from the ANA. You should fucking know better than that. If I have to send a staff sergeant down there to put a fucking boot in your ass, I'm going to. And if that doesn't work, I'll walk down there and fuck you up myself. All of this over company attack. Like, all right. So I looked at my buddy. I was like, what do I even say to that? And he's like, just say Roger. Go, Roger. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. I guess it just kind of it wasn't in the cards for me to go down there. Like I'm not I'm not religious. I don't believe in any of that stuff. But I guess something was stopping me from going down there. They ended up going down to this area called Conishin. I believe that's what it was called, Conishin. And at the time, LAR had stayed mounted for so long, and they did it so much, and they never got out and like V-sweeped or anything, that the IED threat was so fucking high. Like that was the whole reason why they called us down there, to help assist them on their op. I think it was. And I think if I remember right, when those dudes got back, they told me that within the first 6 hours, like they had run out of EOD, had run out of C4. They had found so many IEDs, so they were having to market bypass. And then one of the dudes in the other platoon ended up losing his legs. That was a fucked up situation. Ended up losing his leg. And again, this is all hearsay, so I can't be 100% positive on it. But the rumor was that they slept into the compound. They cleared it with the CMD and everything, and it didn't pick it up. But I guess it was right under the doorway. So the first dude stepped over the doorway. The next guy stepped over the doorway, and either the third or the fourth guy, either way, they hit it, but it was offset. And when they stepped on it, it blew my buddy up, blew both of his legs off, and one of his legs hit my other buddy in the face and gave him like a severe fucking concussion. My buddy Matt Gusty, who's still in, got his second Purple Heart because he got shot on the first deployment, got blown up on the second deployment. It's like, brother, you need to find a different job. It's not.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah. He's recovered now. He was if I'm not mistaken, the fastest recovering double amputee.
Oh, wow.
And he's fucking crushing it at life right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good shit.
Yeah, I can't imagine how far the technology is coming to probably these guys can maybe get upgrades, through, like from whatever he had back then. Hopefully he has something better now.
Oh, like, I have no idea. I don't. We're acquaintances, right? I say buddy, not a buddy. We're work acquaintances. We were closer than what we are now, but I was a petty asshole, and I said some shit that shouldn't have been said. Because I was butthurt that he got selected for a meritorious promotion over me. He deserved it, plain and simple. He deserved it. But I ended up talking shit, and he called me on my bluff. So it happens.
Yeah, shit happens, man.
Yeah, we talk every now and again, but it's very, very few and far between.
Yeah. Damn, so you did the squad leader there. You came back 6 months and then fucking right back at it.
I'm trying to think of the time frame, right? So May, June, we'll say June of 2010. I was in Afghanistan. We were back in December. Yeah, because I was in Afghanistan for 10, 11, and 12. We deployed again November 1st of 2011. So I did a 6-month workup, an 11-month workup, and then we came back. Was that April 2012? And then that was our first year-long workup, I believe. And then we did a UDP on that one. We went to a bunch of Pacific countries. That was fun.
Oh yeah, we got to see a bunch of shit.
Yeah, it was fun. We went to Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and then we ended in Japan. Good old Camp Schwab.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple things over at old Camp Schwab.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But,
come home and take a Schwab.
Hey.
But so I was talking to you before the show that it's like it's definitely easier for guys to highlight things about other people. Talk about a guy you worked with. Like I'll tell stories about my friends all day, but I'm not going around saying like moments that I'm proud of myself for necessarily. But if we could try to rip that Band-Aid off now, and if you could think of a specific time where you kind of felt that pride, you said like, okay, I belong here, like I'm a good Marine, that feeling, And maybe it was that time where you were the Lance Corporal squad leader running shit, arguing, well, not arguing, but conversating with the gunny over the radio as a Lance Corporal, you know. But I don't know. What was that moment for you?
I mean, that deployment was it had its hiccups, but I would say that was important for me in two ways. I was proud of myself for being capable of everything that was done that deployment. I mean, fuck, man, like I was a boot rifleman the deployment before that, and then now I'm a fucking squad leader. I've got 12 dudes underneath me that I have to keep safe,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get volunteered as the senior guy to run a fob as a lance corporal. Over people that was their third deployment. You know, like I got chosen,
Yeah,
so I was proud of that. I was in charge of our company's mobile set, or either the company or my platoon's mobile section. So like I had a lot of responsibilities for a lance corporal. I
yeah,
was proud of my ability to be capable of that, but it was also big for me in the aspect of when I got back, I realized like there's still a lot of shit that I don't know. Right, like on this, I don't know what caused it. Um, but kind of looking back on that deployment, I was like, dude, what the fuck would I have done if we hit an IED? You know, how would I have reacted if we did get shot at? Like, I don't necessarily know if I would have known what to do. Like, I obviously know what to do. Like the muscle memory kicks in, right? Like your IA drills and shit like that are ingrained into your body. But training and then actually having rounds snap over you is two different things. So it was just an eye-opening experience, like telling myself like, hey, I'm not as good as I think I am. I'm capable, but I'm not as proficient as I need to be. So from there, it just kind of I wanted to just keep getting better, and then that was like a big wake-up call for me, a big one.
When you knew that you were ended up going to stay in, you were going to re-enlist that first time, did you know at that point that you wanted to make a career out of it? Or were you going to do another four, see kind of where you sat from there, what was going on in life and shit like that? Or
Um, once I lost the ability. This sounds shitty, and I know how it sounds, but once I lost the ability to see my kids on a regular basis, I kind of just didn't fucking care about anything at that point. So I did my first 5.5 years in Hawaii. I did 3 deployments with them, and then after she was telling me that she wanted to get separated and everything, I was like, okay. It's like, well, let's try to go through counseling, therapy, whatever the fuck I got to do. I want anger management, whatever I need to do. Like I want to try to make this work. And then some things transpired, and it was very evident that it wasn't going to work. So I was like,
right.
all right, fuck it. I guess I'll stay in and see where this takes me. And then I think when I reenlisted, I sent to monitor my 3 duty station preferences, and it was 2-4, 2-4, 3-5, and then 3-7. And obviously, I ended up in the fucking stumps. So um, after that, like 29 Palms was it was an experience. I'll say that it was a fucking experience. But at that point, I had been in for let's see, when I left there, 5, 8, almost 9 years, I think, 9 years, somewhere around there. And I had done 5 straight deployments. I was just fucking tired, man. So I volunteered to go up to Bridgeport to be a red hat, and that place is not a break like I thought it was going to be. And then that's when everything really changed. Ended up getting custody of my kids, and that changed the trajectory of my career. But once I hit 10 years, and I knew that I was going to go over 10 years, I wasn't going to get out after that. 10
Right.
years was I'd always told myself that 10 years was my breaking point. Like if I'm gonna get out, it's gonna be before 10. If I do a week after 10 years, I'm staying in. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You put that much time in. So I guess you talked a little bit about, you went to Bridgeport, 29 Palms. Uh, Good question we have for you is, out of all the different training exercises, bases you've been, shit you've done, what was one of the hardest ones, you think?
mm.
Because I've heard a lot of people say Bridgeport's hell. You get a lot of people get broke off in the cold weather training and all that stuff. But I feel like you would be a good person to ask of all the different places, and from Hawaii to 29 Palms to Bridgeport to Lejeune. You've been kind of all over.
I would probably say that Bridgeport was physically physically it was Bridgeport. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, dude, going through Winter Mountain Leaders course that was a kick in the gooch, bro. That shit was not easy.
man.
Uh, like at 29 Palms, we hike everywhere, right? Unless we're
Right.
top or Morgan's Well, we're hiking there,
Yeah.
and those packs weren't light, and we were hiking in the sand. And dude, I got to fucking Bridgeport, bro. Like base camp itself, I think was at 6,000 feet. So you're already sucking for fucking air at base camp,
Right.
and you're going up to 6, 7, 8, 9,000 feet in the training areas. It's probably not that much, but it's up there. Uh, it was just it was rough. And then on top of that, you're carrying this fuck off pack that is just gigantic. You got skis strapped to one side, poles strapped to another, and then you're pulling this fucking sled that's full of it's got a tent, it's got pots for your water, it's got a 5 gallon bucket where you shit in. Like
Oh my God.
terrible. It's fucking terrible. But that's physically it was definitely Bridgeport. But once you pass all the schools and everything and you become an instructor, it's fun as shit. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Mentally, the hardest place mentally that I've worked has most definitely been SOI.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
The job is not physically hard. Like you can put a pack on your back and fucking hike 10, 5, 10, 15, 20K. It's not hard. Um, but when I first got here, Delta Company, so I got here and went to Delta Company. I went through McKick in July of 22, got to my company in September of 22. Uh, and I went to Delta, and they were about to pick up, and it was, are you guys familiar with like the IMC program?
No.
No, I don't think so.
All right. So whenever we went through SOI, we had the split, right? It was 8 weeks or whatever of 0300. You split
Yeah.
weapons MOS, and then you go do 0311 centric and then weapons. Well,
Mm.
when IMC started the infantry Marine course, it went from 12-week POI with the split to a 14-week POI just 0311.
Oh shit.
And we were doing a BIM, which was the old school model. It was a BIM IMC hybrid, and that was by far the best class that I've done since I've fucking been at SOI. That was so much fun. I didn't have to be a squad instructor, and I'll explain what that is in a second. I came right in, and I was already selected for Gunny when I got to SOI, so they put me as a platoon sergeant. But the squad instructors, all it is a squad leader. It's literally it. So you're teaching this squad of 18 everything that an 0311 needs to learn, from fucking offensive fundamentals, defensive fundamentals, fucking patrolling. They do the M27, 240, Carl Gustav or the Moz, the M320s, Claymores, frags, radios, mortars. And
Holy
just
shit.
a whole bunch of other shit, right? So it was based off this whole arms room concept thing where they were pretty much trying to make SOI privates like little recondos, and it was a good idea in theory. But lo and behold, it's not working out because they did that. They've done that the whole time that I've been here, and I think they've been doing it for a year or two prior to me getting here. And my company was the last one to do a BIM cycle. Um, but now they're realizing that the throughput for IMC, because the course is so long, so it's like you do 14 weeks as an 0311, and then you either stay at SOI for an undefined amount of time until a weapons course picks up, or you go to the fleet and then they designate you, and then you come back and you go through a weapons
Oh,
PI that's a month.
well,
So the
that's
throughput for
yeah.
privates was not enough. They were not getting enough people. So now we're backtracking, like everyone said that we were going to, and we're going back to BIM. Except it's going to be a 12. It is a 12-week POI. It's pretty much going back to what BIM was. I think it's 8 or 9 weeks for 0300, and then the rest of it is a weapon split all over again.
It's crazy how all the different changes going on, and I was telling you about uh, people. Some of the people submit questions from the Patreon page, and this is a good time to bring up one of them. But this one came in from a one of our most loyal followers, Michael CC.
Oh, God damn it.
He wrote in. He says, "Hey Horton, first, always remember you bitching about how miserable we all were on a hot mic when we were doing some training event in Kuwait. Legend, legendary rant. Second, do you think the changes taking place in the Corps, such as getting rid of tanks and RD plus restructuring infantry battalion, is a positive? RIP to assaultmen." So that's, I mean, he packed a lot in there. I don't know if we want to touch on the hot mic.
I don't remember the hot mic. However, I'm not surprised that it happened. It seems to be a fucking trend with me, apparently.
Well, Cece's been thinking about it every day, apparently.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of indifferent. Um, the infantry has definitely, and I am in no way. I'll publicly announce it right now. Like, I am not an expert in the financial aspect of the Marine Corps, like the planning and everything. But from what I see, how it affected us financially, I do not agree with them getting rid of snipers. However, I think, in my opinion, snipers did it to themselves because
Mhm.
while there may be plenty of professional, um, hunters of gunmen, hogs out there that actually care about the craft and the reason behind it, I think that too many people were wanting to be snipers to be part of the cool guys club, and they lost their view of what it was to be a sniper. And because too many people saw those jackasses, it created a very negative image against snipers, which I think played a big part in them going away, in my opinion. And it's just my opinion. But I don't agree with it. If you look at any war that we fought, right? World War One, they created sharpshooters. We had sharpshooters in the Civil War. World War Two, snipers they played a part. And I don't want to say I'm a history snob, but I like military history. I can't specifically remember if after World War II, they disbanded snipers. I think they did. And then they came back again in Vietnam. And then they disbanded again. And then once they came back, the next time they were kind of here to stay. I think there is a needed role for snipers on the modern battlefield. If you look at what's going on now in Ukraine, for example, because that is the most relevant thing we have going on right now. I mean, fuck, even in Syria before the collapse of the Syrian regime, like snipers were everywhere. You guys know as well as I do that one person can dictate the movements of an entire battalion. So I think that getting rid of those is kind of a detriment. Um, and in the grand scheme of things, they didn't get rid of them because now all the snipers are turning into scouts. and it's just a same MOS, different or not, kind of a same job, different MOS. Tanks, I think tanks kind of was just an extra that we had. Like, never has the Marine Corps, at least from my understanding, had the most modern weaponry. That's just kind of how we go and how we do things. But
Mhm.
them getting rid of tanks, I mean, fuck, dude. Like, everyone in the infantry now, the majority, not everybody, but the vast majority of infantrymen now have the M27 or the IR with the SCO. They have the new plate carriers, which fucking suck. We all have high cuts now. Everyone's got suppressors. They got PBS 31s. So it's like the financial aspect definitely helped us because it gave us better equipment. The high cuts and 31s are fucking nice. I don't use the new plate carrier because it's trash, but um, and no, I'm not rocking like an aftermarket one. I just still have the old school one that I was issued when I first got here. But I think that it helped us kind of relocate monetary assets in places that it was more needed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started noticing the tail end of that. I left the Marines in it was May of 2021, and the PBS 31s rolled out. We deployed with those, and you know, we didn't get. Not everyone had suppressors yet, but a lot of things were rolling out like just as I was leaving, which was good to see. You know, finally some better gear for just the regular infantry squad. But maybe we'll jump to our other question. Let's just knock these out back to back, so I don't have to keep switching tabs. But another familiar name. This question came in from Trevor Jenkins, the right now our only active suspect from the the infamous
Us part.
sport. Yeah, but he writes in, Big Daddy Horton. Throughout your experience in the Corps, what is, in your opinion, one of the more difficult things to teach your Marines about leadership? And then a follow on question. Also, what was one of your top memories in the service?
Mm.
Oh, let's start with the first. What's the most difficult things to teach your Marines about leadership? And I feel like it's probably changed over time, but I'll let you really answer that.
Yeah. Um, I think the and this one probably didn't come to me until I was a sergeant. Nobody gives a fuck what you've done. No, nobody cares what you've done. Your students or your not students, but your junior Marines, they don't necessarily give a fuck what you've done, right? It's cool because they know that you've done it, that you've put it into practice, but they don't necessarily care what you've done. They care what you can give to them, what you can show them, what you can instill in them. That's what they care about. Uh, and being able to leave that mindset of I'm better than you because I've done this and you haven't, or I'm better than you because I did this first. That was a hard one for me to get rid of. Like, I remember after my first deployment, like, putting motherfuckers in parade rest, like, do you have a fucking combat action ribbon? No, bitch, you don't. Like, why does that matter? Looking back on it now, I was like, why does that matter? It just makes you sound like a complete douchebag. That doesn't matter. I should have taken all that kind of stuff and taught them, which I did, but that should have never been a thing. So realizing that, like, they don't care what you've done. They care about what you can teach them. Um, I think that was a big one. And then because the Marine Corps has changed so much, I think that if you are a leader now, another big one for me that I didn't really learn until I got here, um, empathy. You have to have empathy as a leader. We're no longer in we're no longer in the shut your mouth and do what you're fucking told because I told you to anymore. Like, you have to understand that people have shit going on in their lives. People have divorces going on. People have kids being born. People have medical shit that they need to get taken care of. Like, it's not as go anymore as it used to be. So you have to be empathetic to people, and you have to understand your people. If you don't, you're not going to be a good leader, in my opinion. One of the facets, anyways. What was the second half of that question?
Words of wisdom.
What was
Yeah.
what was one of your top memories
Mm.
in the service? And don't say hanging out with Nick and Dave, behind the barracks, because we know about that stuff already.
Oh man, top memories.
Yeah, that's
That's a
that's
tough
one.
one.
Maybe we could have forwarded that to you ahead of time, because there's so many good memories.
Fuck, dude, I don't even know. That one's rough. Are we talking like my most positive memories, or just one of the most memorable moments?
I'd say,
Is there if maybe one of each?
yeah.
Okay.
If
Um,
if you if there's two like different ones that's standing out to you.
Damn, that's a hard question, man. One of the most memorable moments. I don't know, man. I think we might have to come back to that one towards the end. I got to think on that one, so I'm not sitting here in fucking silence.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. We could definitely circle back
It's
to it.
helpful. We should have sent that ahead of time. Put you on the spot.
No, it's
I
all good.
know it's tough. We like to just have it just be natural and authentic. What comes to your mind first is probably the answer. If and then if something comes to you later, you're like, we're gonna have you back on the show.
Yes,
Sometime. I mean, if if you choose to come back after this,
Absolutely, man.
but
Always. I mean, if we're gonna go off of that logic, and it's probably the first thing, we were. Oh goddamn! What year was this? I think it was my workup to my third deployment. Um, and we were doing RIMPAC in Hawaii. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It's a huge multinational training event that happens in Hawaii. Um, and that was probably like the most fun that I had in Third Marines, because like I was the scout squad for my company. So anytime that we went to the field, like I went out a day or two early and was like the recon element for the company. It was fucking so fun. But somehow my name was brought up to the battalion commander, and the battalion commander specifically uh, requested that myself, and it was either myself or a person of my choosing, or myself and my radio operator, um, attend a ball on some fucking huge ship in Hawaii for RIMPAC. But I ended up choosing my radio operator. I know it was me and him that went. We had to go in dress blue, Charlies, deltas, whatever the fuck the blue pants and short sleeve shirt are. I'm drawing a blank right now.
hey, you might be asking the wrong guys.
Yeah, I'm terrible with
I've been
uniforms,
watching
dude.
I've been watching Bluey, and
But yeah, so we got
I'm out of the game.
we got to go do that, and like I ended up getting I met a lot of really cool fucking people, like higher echelon military people. Like this dude had been in for like 40 years. He was a 40-year sergeant major in the New Zealand Army. I got to meet him, got a challenge plan from him. But it was just really fucking cool that the battalion commander requested me to go, like by name. Um, and I pretty much just got to go hang out, eat fucking good food, and drink some booze, man, on this boat. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. What do you think? Why do you think your name was floating around with him? So that was after your second deployment where you were a Lance Corporal squad leader.
Mhm.
You think that's probably uh, what kind of led up to that, or were you still making some noise after that?
Um, I mean, you guys know me. I've always been loud. Uh, I don't know. I don't think that I was. I don't necessarily think that I was setting myself out from my peers. You know, I didn't think that I was doing anything that was crazy or making waves, but something was happening that made my name go up to the battalion level. Whether it was good or bad, I don't know, but
That's
Mm.
awesome.
it did. So I mean, it was a good time.
Yeah, that's cool. That's something I was talking to my wife about the Marine Corps balls, and that's the picture on our podcast logo. That's like the year me and Nick went. We didn't have dates, so we took a picture together.
No, that fucking shit killed me, bro.
They're
But
so mad at us.
the balls were awesome.
They
No,
were fun. My
and
first
I got
emergency room visit was ignited by a Marine Corps ball out in
yeah,
Vegas.
that was well,
I
yeah,
got
it was.
beamed in the face.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fucking,
were you there for that one? Because I wasn't in 3-7 yet when all that happened,
Oh
but
yeah, my first ball with 3-7 was in Vegas. That was good. That was a good time.
that's a crazy place to just let a group of Marines go
Yeah,
freaking wild in.
like I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but thank you.
Yeah.
yeah,
I just remember
I
seeing
think
Douglas, old fucking James Douglas. I didn't go crazy that night. I don't think I did. I can't fucking remember, dude. That was so long
My
ago.
dad.
I've been mentally harmed so long now. Like I can't fucking remember anything. I remember specifically seeing him. His fucking belt's all ripped off, like just flops from side to side. His buttons are undone down to like right here, and he's just got this beer in the air, just fucking dancing and singing, just hooting and hollering, hammered. I was like, this man's doing it right.
yeah,
It is cool how like lax sometimes the balls, like especially the ones in 3-7, it felt like, it was
Oh yeah.
people were allowed to have a good time and it not be something that was frowned
yeah.
upon,
Oh,
Like I said, I
Bridgeport
didn't
was the same way. They had their balls in Reno, Nevada.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the dirty Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's probably a better fit for the Marines.
But would it be it had to be significantly like smaller size ball, with just was it just kind of the instructor cadre and maybe some of the staff that works at Bridgeport or
Yeah, so if I remember right, it was like it was a base function because it's so small. It was a baseball, I think.
mm,
It was really cool though because we had I don't know who it was, but the 2 years that I was up there was a dude, a very wealthy person, who volunteered to pay for every sergeant and below on that base their ball ticket.
oh wow.
Wow,
It was super cool.
Yeah, that it
falling out for the ball.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the how so how many years in are you now?
What month are we in? About to be April.
Yeah.
Um, I just hit my 16-year 2 month mark.
Oh
Wow.
shit.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's a lot of balls. And I'd be impressed if you remember even half of them because
Yeah.
So you'd
I
be
only I
surprised though. I haven't really gone to a lot of balls.
yeah,
I went
with deployments and such.
well that, and it's just like Hawaii. I went to two or three, two. 29 Palms. I went to one. Bridgeport. I went to one. I didn't go to any of the balls on I, and I haven't been to a ball since I've been here.
Damn. Yeah, so about 4 or 5 in total.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, man. So it's like it's outside of the realm. Like, what am I gonna do? Go walk around fucking Wilmington and look at the stars? Oh, that's gay, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm curious what led you to kicking the drinking, cuz I know like with me and Nick right now we talk about like I've been I'll crack a couple beers for the podcast, but other than that, like especially with kids, it's like unreal. Like it's you can't like I'm waking up at 3 in the morning sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there was specific reasons where we really cut it from. Like I didn't quit completely. Like I said, I'll have a couple on the podcast and or if I go out to dinner or something, but like there's a big difference between if Dave that was in the barracks, the amount of beers that would get put away, and now
Fucking menace. That
yeah,
menace, Dave.
now you know my kids will never know that side of me. I'm a responsible father. But what kind of pushed you down that road with stopping drinking?
Mm. So Hawaii, I was young and it was fun and it was the thing to do, right?
Hmm.
Late teens, early 20s. That's all you want to do is get fucked up.
Yeah,
Um, especially for me because like I was ready to get out and be a fucking dad, and
yeah,
then some shitty stuff transpired, and I was like, fuck the world. So I went hard. I had fun. Um, I was partying at college campuses, and I had a blast in Hawaii. I loved Hawaii. Um, and then 29 Palms, and I'll preface 29 Palms with I have rarely ever been a what's the word I'm looking for? A recreational drinker. Like rarely. And if I do, it's a beer or two, and I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I'm ready to go to bed. So I'm a social drinker.
mhm.
So the people that I hung out with were the reasons that I was drinking. I got to 29 Palms, and it was just shitty. I just drank because it was shitty. 29 Palms sucked.
I've told people you become a gym rat or you get a drinking problem, and I kind of
Both.
yeah I was somewhere in the middle, you know.
Yeah. Um,
But
it wasn't. I didn't really drink a lot until. Do you guys remember Bailey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
if you're not aware, Bailey's my brother-in-law now.
Oh shit.
oh wow,
Yeah.
no I don't.
So me and him, and I'll explain. Me and him. I don't know. I don't even remember how it happened. Uh, it was probably something like super fucking simple where I asked him for something armory related, and then he was like, "Hey, do you want to go to the gym?" And then we became friends. I don't know.
Hmm.
But me and him were like fucking attached at the hip, dude. Like he was my boy, my ride or die. I still love him to death. He's still my best friend. Um, and I'm trying to think of and he's still with his then girlfriend, now wife. But we all three hung out. We were all drinking and fucking just having a good time, just being people. Do you guys remember Dunn?
Yeah. I don't know if Dave met Don.
That
He might
it could have
be.
been it might have been before my time because you guys did a deployment together, and then I checked in um for the second run.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Keely did too. So he had some shit happen in his life. And pretty much me, Brandon, which is Bailey's first name if you didn't know, and his wife at the time, we pretty much stayed at Dunn's house. We just fucking partied, played Xbox, and it was a great time. That was the peak of my drinking. Like then, when I mean fucking peak, I was hitting it hard.
Yeah.
And that was probably this picture right here. Where's it at? I want to find this fucking picture because there's a picture of me and Brandon somewhere. Brittany's got it here somewhere. Either way, oh, there it is. Hang on, I'm gonna show you this fucking picture. All right, so this picture, the backstory behind it, I was in the barracks and we were supporting another company's McCree, or it was a Morgan's Well attack or something. They were doing something evaluated and we were their PSOs. And we had to be up hella early to be at the motor pool to get on the fucking 7-ton. And he's like, hey, dude, come over and have a drink. And I was like, fuck no. I was like, we got to get up super early. He's like, dude, just come over and have one drink. I was like, no, B, like, I'm not coming over there. And he's like, stop being a pussy or stop being a bitch, one of the two. And I was like, well, now I have to go. Right. Like, so I go over there and one drink leads to three and three leads to a bottle. And me and him smashed an entire bottle of Captain Morgan. And no, it wasn't Captain. It was Bacardi. It was Bacardi and Coke, or Bacardi and Pepsi. So
The PX
I wake
special.
up the next morning and I'm like, dude, are you good to drive? Like, because I'm still fucking hammered. Are you good to drive to base? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm good. We get on base, everything's fine. Then we proceed to sit in the back of a 7-ton for 6 hours.
Oh,
6 fucking hours, bro. In the summer, all the way out to Blacktop. And you guys remember how shitty that drive is.
yeah.
So we get out to fucking Blacktop, and it's the middle of summer. It is
They
just,
added bumps.
oh yeah, it is hot as Satan's ball sack in this fucking 7-ton. And the next thing you know, we're fucking conducting this range, and we're dying. And I mean, hungover, dehydrated, fucking dying, bro.
Oh
And we
yeah.
get midway through this range, and it's to the point where the dudes that were conducting the range were falling out, and the PSOs were carrying weapon systems. The gunner was carrying a 240 on his back.
Jeez.
I think Andy was there for that one as well because he ended up picking up a gun and was fucking just trudging up this fucking hill.
Yeah.
And Bailey stops and was like, brother, I'm not going to make it. I was like, stop being a bitch and get the fuck up. Let's go. And he's like, I'm not going to make it. I'm about to fucking go down. So I give him my fucking Camelback hose and he starts drinking all of my water. And then we take this fucking picture. I don't know if you could tell the absolute misery in our faces, but we were so fucking bad off in that picture, bro. So bad off. After that, it was kind of a decline for me. I was like, I got a problem. I'm gonna slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the peak alcoholism. And then like I said, he's my brother-in-law now, and it's a funny story. He sends me a text and he's like, hey, you should talk to my sister. I think you guys will get along. And he sends the same text to his sister. He's like, hey, you should talk to my buddy. I think you guys will get along. So we text each other and was like, hey, Brandon said we should talk to each other. And we're like, yep. And that's it. It stopped. We didn't talk to each other for like 6 months or a year. And I was on deployment. She's like, hey, I just want to see how you're doing, see if you needed anything. And I was like, no, I'm good, man. We're on Jabber. You know, Jabber had everything. It's got a fucking Pizza Hut, a Taco Bell, the gym, the PX, the bomb ass chow hall. Like I didn't need anything. She's like, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Do you need anything? And I'm like, I guess I don't know. And then here we are, man. We started dating in February of 2017, and we're still together. So
That's fucking awesome, man.
yeah,
That's incredible, man.
Wild chance. But I mean, me and her, we would drink occasionally. You know, like Bridgeport, I had a couple fucking knockdown, drag out nights up there that were not. It was not a good place. Other than that, like
the higher.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was cutting you off, but I was saying like the higher elevation. I feel like the alcohol hits you a little harder.
I don't know, man, but I remember getting. There's a video of my going away where there was a video taken of me giving a speech that I do not remember at all.
That's not good.
And I'm giving this speech as I'm holding this half-empty bottle, this fifth of Jack, and I'm taking pulls off this bottle like it's nothing, like it's water. No recollection whatsoever of this speech.
How was the speech?
Um,
Best
the
speech you ever gave?
typical drunk dude speech, like, "Hey, I fucking love you guys. Thank you for everything.
Oh yeah,
I love you guys."
yeah,
And then it declined again after Bridgeport, and then I got to I. That's when like I got custody of the kids. I got to Tennessee, established my house, and like me and her, we would play like beer pong or drinking games just by ourselves and shit. We would go out every now and again, but
yeah,
once once she found out she was pregnant, um, we had just gone up to Brandon's house for his 30th birthday, and we came back, I think, and she was like, "I'm pregnant." I was like, "Oh fuck, okay, cool." So we both went stone cold sober, and then she was sober for 3 years, 3 years and some change, and I think in the last 3.5 years, she's probably had like maybe a total of 2 bottles of wine. And like as soon as she stopped drinking, I had no reason to drink because I don't go out anymore. I'm a fucking hermit. Like I don't go
yeah,
out anymore. That's just kind of where we stand now.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel that everyone goes like you described it pretty perfectly. Like late teens, early 20s, we were just liabilities to society, and then you you start kids get thrown in the mix. A lady comes along, and now I feel the more and more guys I talk to, everyone's kind of at this phase right now where it's like do it every now and then. Don't it's there's more important things going on. But maybe later in life we'll get back at it. I'm not
Who knows, man? But you hit
I'm
it
not
like
ruling it
the
out.
kids was the big thing.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely. It's
I don't like to. So my and I'm not talking shit. I love my mom to death, but my mom was an alcoholic. So like I grew up with that. I saw the trends, the behaviors. Uh,
yeah,
my dad's a whole fucking different story. I'm not going to get into him. Uh, but I didn't want that around my kids, right? So I grew up around the drugs. I grew up around the alcoholism, the abuse, the parental abuse, and all that kind of shit. Like I didn't want that around my kids. Am I a
Yeah.
perfect parent? No, I'm not. But I've tried to not bring the same things around them that I was exposed to. So that was a really big factor for me. Like I don't like being drunk in front of my kids, and I
yeah,
don't think that I've actually ever been drunk in front of my boys. I might have like a beer in front of them. I might have had, but I don't. I don't think I've actually ever. They've ever seen me drunk.
yeah. I mean, it's a it's a good philosophy to keep with things like I I mean every dumb thing I've ever done I was drunk like every so it's like I don't want to I don't want my kids I mean as time goes on maybe 20, 30 years from now I would you're gonna have some good memories with I mean I'm saying that for me because I've got brand new newborns basically so 20, 30 years from now like I want to have some drinks with them
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. But yeah, like and we definitely don't need to get into that stuff. But I'll just say for me is a similar situation where there's things that happened from parents that me and my wife really talk about where it's like we're not going to have that in our house because
Yeah.
hmm
I'm 31 years old and there's still things that linger. But I think our generation is really flipping the script on a lot of that. Like earlier this year, we talked with Jamie Greenfield and learned about the environment that he grew up in.
yeah. I
And
listened to that podcast. That was a good one.
yeah, we want to have him back on soon. But just hearing that and then how he chose to change the path for his family, like kind of he changing the Greenfield family name. I really respect that, and I think it's coming out a lot more with our generation. People are choosing not to follow the pattern, so that's good to hear, man. That you know, I I think I think your kids are in good hands. Yeah,
I try. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, but I try.
Yeah. Yeah, someone's got to break the cycle.
yeah. So what initially pushed you into the Marines? Some guys it's as simple as like, oh, I didn't want to go to college, and this guy gave me a business card. But for other people, um, they had maybe an example before them, and they're like, oh, I want to be like that guy. What? I'm curious, what was that like for you? Like, how did the Marine Corps come into your life when you're just a high school student, or even before that?
Um, I don't know when like YouTube was created. Um, but like cell phones were fucking barely a thing. Like flip phones were barely a thing whenever I was young. So
Hmm.
I didn't have the luxury of having a computer. So as soon as I was able to like use a computer and shit, I got on YouTube and like I started to see all these Fallujah videos, these Phantom Fury videos, the dudes fucking pushing through Ramadi and all that kind of shit. And I'm like, dude, I want to fucking do that. Like those dudes are out there smoking people. I want to do that. That was
Yeah.
honestly that was my main motivation. Like I'm not saying in like a malicious way that I just want to go kill people, but I would also be lying if I say that it didn't appeal. Like what those dudes were doing was real man shit in my eyes, and I
Hmm.
wanted to do it. So I tried college. I did. I got about a semester in, and I was like, "This shit is whack. I don't want to do this." So
Yeah,
I
it
grabbed
still is whack.
me and my buddy, my best friend from school. Were like, "Hey man, you want to join the Marines together?" And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we did the buddy program, and we were both going to go infantry. I ended up going infantry. He got fucked at the last minute and got switched over to comm. And
Mm.
I went to Hawaii to Third Marines, and he went to fucking Lejeune to whatever comm battalion he went to, and he hated his fucking life. Hated it.
Oh, that
Dang.
makes me feel better, man. Because my experience, there was no infantry contract right off the bat, and the recruiter that I had was really trying to pitch me communications. He was saying he's like, "Yo, you'll be a radio operator. You're gonna do everything the infantry does." But luckily, I had a mentor, a bit older than me, but he joined the army. But he was infantry. He was a sniper, like a lot of the same crossover. And he was like, "Yeah, maybe you should wait for infantry." And I'm glad I did because, like you said, like yeah, you might end up a radio operator and doing all the shit grunts do, or you could end up, just kind of stuck somewhere taking apart radios, and I don't know what they're doing over there.
I'd be lying to you if you guys remember that fucking the old school recruiting video with the dragon, the dude slaying the dragon.
I don't,
I don't think
I
I've
don't know.
seen that one.
We could
You
try.
guys, you guys gotta look it up. The old school Marine Corps fucking recruiting video. The dude's like climbing the mountain and he slays a dragon. And then it shows him in the dress
Nick,
blues with the fucking sword. I'd be
are
lying
you
to you
pulling?
if I tell you that didn't get me too.
Are you pulling it up?
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
We're still trying to figure out what we're allowed to play on here. The other day we were doing an episode, and Nick played like 5 seconds of an AC/DC song, and our episode got flagged for copyright. So we're like, I don't
What?
know. I don't know what we can do, but maybe we could pull up this video.
I fucking found it, I can tell you that. It's, there we go. Let me widescreen this bitch. Let me share it.
I'm curious. I don't know if I've seen it, or even just part. Oh, it's only a minute.
Oh no, I don't know if this one's it or not. Hang on, let's play it through.
This looks like Beast Games or something. This doesn't look like the Marines, but maybe.
It's a beast game. Oh, that's a different one.
No, that's EGA.
I don't think that one was it. I'm trying to find it.
Oh,
What
there's-
oh
oh,
did
it's copyrighted.
oh yeah. Did it say what year that ad was from?
No, it just the title of it is the best U.S. Marines TV recruitment ever produced.
But I definitely get what you're saying. I had with the early technology coming out, I know I was definitely a few years behind you. I didn't join until 2012, but I remember being, a high school kid down in had an old shitty laptop and checking out some YouTube videos and things like that.
I think I might have found it. Hang on.
That's crazy though. Didn't know that had to have been some early produced shit
Yeah.
for how it looked.
So I saw the dragon one, if I'm not mistaken, when I was a kid. But this is the one that I was talking about. I think.
Here we go.
That's Bridgeport. Rock climbing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
dude,
it's that one.
they'll get your ass.
Yeah.
They got all of us.
Well, it wasn't hard either. So like infantry for me wasn't hard to get because he was like, "Hey man, the only thing we got for infantry is a 6-year contract." I was like, "I don't want to do that. That's
Mm.
fucking trash." And he's like, "But you get $15,000." I was like, "Sign me up. Where's the dotted line?"
Yeah.
So they got me.
Yeah. I would sign that right now. I need some diapers, man.
Yeah. So yeah. Luckily, I'm out of diapers now. We're into pull up mode.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Um,
So what's on the horizon, man? What are you looking forward to? She said 16 years.
yeah. What's the plan in your head here for? Are you gonna? Some people say I'm doing 1 month after 20 years and then I'm gone. Or
Well, I'm in kind of a weird spot right now. Excuse me. I just put in for an extension to stay here for 6 more months, even though I don't want to, because East Coast sucks. But the E8 board lets out in November, and I'll be in zone for first sergeant this year. So I'm trying to stay here so I can get the results of the board and then only move once out of here. But if that doesn't get approved, then the next the next 3 duty station preferences, if I have to PCS as a gunny in September, are there's a good gig here on North Carolina. There was Marine Corps Security Forces, Kings Bay, Georgia, and back to Third Marines in Hawaii.
Shit.
And then if I go to Hawaii, then I'll probably stay in for a couple extra years past 20 because I don't want to retire out of Hawaii because it's a pain in the ass, from what I've heard. But if I get extended and I get selected, then I'm going to try to stay here on the East Coast. That way my kids have some continuity for school. But fucking,
yeah,
if I get selected, I'm done. I'm done, sir, done, man. 20, and I'm done.
Damn, hell yeah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's I could imagine First Sergeant Horton coming out Friday afternoon formation, giving the boys some knowledge.
Yeah. The
It'd
the
be
first starts that I really emulate, I don't know if you guys remember them, but do you guys remember DeCosmo and Reynolds?
Oh yeah, I remember
so
both of them.
Yeah.
Reynolds was for the deployment. I was with you, and I believe DeCosmo was before I got there. So I've
Yeah,
heard the name, but I never met him.
that guy was an animal, animal.
Yeah,
But those two are two people that I hold in very high regard when it comes to what it is to be a first sergeant. Right, like they cared about standards. They cared about it was they were very well rounded. Like they wanted us to be violent and be infantrymen, but also wanted us to be standards based in everything that we did, which I think is a thing that's falling to the wayside now.
yeah.
So what kind of backtracking to 29 Palms? I can't remember the kid's name. Uh, it was after they moved all the sergeants over to the weapons barracks. That's the time frame.
I
Um,
remember that.
but it was
I
the
remember
night that I was chilling in the room, and this Lance Corporal runs up to my fucking door, banging on it. Sergeant Horton, there's a fight in the other barracks. I'm like, okay, like I don't care. And he's like, it's your platoon. I'm like, God damn it. So I fucking get my shit on. I go over there, and it's one boot against like almost the entirety of fucking first platoon. And apparently the kid had gotten fucking mouthy. I don't remember all the names. The kid had gotten mouthy. He had been drinking. He was underage drinking. But the Lance Corporal was also fucking hammered. And apparently the fucking kid just got him. This fucking mollywopped this fucking boot because he was in his face. He was being belligerent. So I'm
yeah.
like, fuck, dude. Like, what do I do? The duty's already logged it in. So I call fucking DeCosmo. I'm like, hey, First Sergeant, what's going on? He's like, get statements from everybody. I'm like, okay. So I'm getting statements from all these people, and none of them were admissible for anything. None of the statements were used in this kid's NJP. None of that bullshit because everyone was drunk when they wrote the fucking statements. So here I am, the only sober asshole out here with a bunch of drunk Lance Corporals on the floor, laying down upside down, trying to write this fucking statement because he can barely see his pencil in his hand. And I'm just like, what am I doing right now? Like, what even is this? You know, like what the fuck is going on right now? I look over, there's a kid writing a statement for somebody else because he's less drunk than the other guy. It's like, oh, God damn it. Just God damn it. And then you got fucking Jenkins upstairs ripping out, or not Jenkins, was it
Cows.
Broberg? It was either Jenkins or Broberg ripping the fucking water fountains out of the ground.
Those cows.
Oh, cows.
He might be coming on soon.
Asshole. Cows. Cows. I can't put a face to the name. Was he an assaultman?
No, he's a machine gunner. Here, I'll get a picture while you're talking.
Pull him up.
Oh, yeah, Big Brett.
Yeah, Brett Cows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dumbass. He seems to be doing good, though. I follow him on social media.
Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, I talked to him a little bit. I said he might be coming on soon, man. He seems like he's loving it right now, so that's awesome.
It's good, yeah. He got him a good girl, it seems like. He found his faith. Good for him.
Yeah. I remember you talk about the Cosmo, funny story. We were all in the barracks drinking, just having a good time out in the hallway. We had the one of the wall lockers, two of the wall lockers tipped over to make beer pong tables in length, and we're sitting out there just playing beer pong on the wall lockers, drinking. Probably a couple people underage drinking at the time, and First
That's funny.
Sergeant Cosmo walks in, to me, I have my back and I'm throwing the ball. And, everybody else is like, everybody starts to get all like, oh shit. I'm like, what's going on? I spin around and I see him, and so we're all like, oh fuck. He walks up, he looks around, comes up to, I forgot who he came up to. He's like, give me that fucking ball. He gave him the ball. He fucking walks up, sinks it, spins around, and walks right out the door.
Hell yeah.
So what a fucking legendary move.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, the more I think about it, the more funny ass memories I've got of 29 Palms. I remember me and Tygart just fucking shit house, bro. Running through the barracks. I had my Slender Man bodysuit. Power Ranger bodysuit, bro. I got a picture on my phone somewhere. I'll try to find it. But it's us in the hallway, like all fucked up, kiltered and shit, and we're just running up and down the hallway, fucking with the duty in these bodysuits.
Yeah, 29 Palms, it's you had to just make the best of it because there's
Oh
just
yeah,
not shit else to do.
no, no, not.
Go,
I'm not. I wasn't. Some of those dudes, man, like they would drive to San Diego on a weeknight and go to bars, and I'm like, what are we doing, brother? What are we
right.
doing right now?
Dude, some of these guys were crazy. I would hear stories about, uh, and of course I won't name names, but disappeared.
Hear it enough.
They like guys were going to Mexico
Yeah,
like on
they're
the
supposed to
weekend,
border to Tijuana.
Yeah,
and I was
Like,
like,
dude,
dude,
that.
I'm not even in the Marine Corps anymore, and I'm stressed just like saying that. Like I couldn't even imagine. Like they were fearless. Like they didn't care if they got in
yeah,
trouble.
bro.
Because I was,
There was one night. It was, and I'll leave names out of this one. It was me and a group of Padres, and we went down to Palm Springs, and it was my first time drinking in Palm Springs. And I have another story after this one. Fucking another bad point in my life. But we go to this party in Palm Springs, this big ass club, and it was popping. It was so much fun. And I'm just fucking sitting there dancing. And when I say dancing, I'm just like looking like Michael J. Fox because I can't dance. So I'm just kind of shaking
yeah,
aggressively. And there's this chick that walks up to me and two other dudes that I'm with and is like trying to get up on us and shit. And I'm like, go away. You know, like get
mhm.
the fuck away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. Well, we leave this bar or this club, and the fourth dude that was with us just disappears. Disappears. And I will say that the woman that was trying to hit on us did not look very much like a woman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The Palm Springs special.
I'm about to say, if you know anything about Palm Springs, that shit's dangerous. So we're about to be back at our hotel or wherever we were staying, and old dude's like booking it back up the road, sprinting towards us, calling us. He is just tickled shitless. Looks like a kid who just had his first Christmas. And he's like, bro, I just got this person in the alley. And I'm like, what person? And he's like, oh, this chick wearing this, that, and the other. And I was like, brother, said that was a guy.
Oh
He was like,
no.
no, man, no. I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on the show. Like, so please crop me out, whatever I need to crop out. But I was like, did you guys do it normal or no? And he's like, no, I put it in her butt. And I was like, that was a fucking dude, bro. That was a dude. He had sex with a guy. And he's like, oh, man, come on, bro. That's not cool. I was like, you just had sex with a dude, bro. Straight up. That was a guy. You can see the Adam's apple when he was talking. That was a guy. He was distraught.
Nick said it best. Palm Springs special. You some gotta watch watch where you step out there.
One of the other ones, dude, if you've noticed that all of the fucked up stories I have were in alcohol involved. Again, 29 Palms is a low point in my life. I went to, it was
Best years
after
of my
Bailey had
life.
gotten out, and he was working at some club as security. And I was able to get in, and it was, I don't know the truth behind it, but I was always told that salt water affects your body's ability to tell if you're drunk or not. I don't know. But we were in this pool. It was a saltwater pool. And for whatever reason, cranberry vodka was my choice of drink for the day. No idea why. And I'm putting them the fuck down because it's hot. These drinks are cold. And I'm slamming these cranberry vodkas. And the next thing I know, I'm drinking double cranberry vodkas. And I get out of the pool and I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm looking around real slow and I'm seeing three of everything. I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and pay for my tab. And Brandon walks up to me real quiet and he's like, hey, brother, I think you should close out. And I'm like, I'm doing it right now. So I close out my tab and I go sit at this chair and I'm just like staring at everybody like, oh, dude, I am so fucked up right now. Oh shit, how am I gonna get back? And the next thing I know, I'm crawling into the fucking bathroom, violently throwing up. I crawl back out. I crawl into this poolside chair and pass out. I don't know for how long until everything was done and his shift was over. So he comes, wakes me up. I get up. I'm like walking out. As I'm walking out, I'm like, brother, I gotta throw up. I said, where's the bathroom? He's like, all the way back in the pool. And I was like, I ain't gonna make it, dude. He said, where can I throw up? He said, don't fucking throw up inside the lobby. So I'm running out of this fucking lobby, and as soon as I get out to the left, I see a bush, one of those nice, pretty potted fucking plants, and I just yak all in this fucking bush. It was terrible, dude. Terrible. I get in this truck, pass out for again. I don't know how long. I don't remember the drive back from Palm Springs to 29 Palms. It was bad. I was fucked up.
It's doesn't sound too unfamiliar. You know, maybe we shared that potted plant at one point.
It wouldn't surprise me. The Hard Rock. It was at the Hard Rock.
Oh yeah, I've been to that Hard Rock.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
that's
bush is permanently marked by me. It was bad.
yeah, dude. That's a crazy place. We obviously Palm Springs. A couple things. We go to the Lake Havasu, was like 5 years.
Havasu is
That's
dangerous.
yeah. So,
Where's I'm gonna try to find this video really quick. I know I've got it somewhere, but I want you guys to see how not in a good place I was. And it's probably not in the same place where it should have been because I got a new phone. So like all my folders are all fucked up and backwards now.
Yeah. Yeah, Lake Havasu, man. That was a fucking crazy time.
I've not heard anybody say that they had a bad time at Havasu though.
I almost lost my life there.
we had
You almost lost your life there?
a time.
And I got shit faced, and we paddled out on these little fucking crocodile floaties to someone's boat that had a tube on it, and he fucking ripped us around that lake. And
Yeah.
I had a genuine fear if I got flung off that thing, I wasn't going to be able to tread water because how fucked up I was.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where like when you get on the water, like I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not in a good place right now.
I remember we pitched a tent like on the beach at Lake Havasu, and then we wake up and it was like 90 degrees and we're hungover.
Jesus
But
Christ.
we were with you remember Doc Tharp?
Oh yeah.
We were with him, and a boat comes like ripping into the shoreline, and they're like waving their arms. People are kind of panicking, and there was something that happened, like a tubing accident, and this a kid had fallen off a tube, and she was saying that she couldn't feel her feet or her legs, like they were you know, and Tharp is like, I don't want to butcher this, but I'm pretty sure he was like hungover, and he goes out there, or you know, he's probably still a little messed up, and he goes out there and starts. I mean, he might have even had his med bag with him, and he started doing a full assessment. You know, I'll wrap to the ending. The kid ended up being okay, like ambulance pulled up and everything, but Tharp is like three sheets to the wind, and he's doing like a changeover with the EMS. Like, all right, I got all the notes. Like, this is the pulse and every. Like, he gave all the facts.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And he came back and took a pull off a burning hot Jägermeister.
Jesus Christ. That
all the ice.
menace. He was
Yeah.
a menace. All right, I found this fucking video.
I'll raise it up to the best. Listen.
I got a beer in one hand and a bottle of Jack in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just me doing the same shit over and over again. But I have no recollection of that. None. We started the night with 128 beers. What I remember, there was 128 beers. There was 2/5 of brandy, regular Jack, honey Jack. Brittany made a gallon of green tea shots.
Oh,
And that's all that I can remember right now. When I woke up in the morning, there was nothing left. Zero.
shit.
Yeah, zero. And then as like the day went on, I started kind of recollecting things from the night. And I texted one of the gunnies and I said, "Hey Gunny, did I throw up last night?" And he's like, "Yes, you did." And I was like, "Okay." "Did I wash my hand in the toilet?" And he said, "Yes, you did." And I was like, "Well, that explains why there's throw up on the towel then." It's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I was hungover for 3 days. 3 fucking days. That was rough.
He said, listen, shut the fuck up.
That guy was a good dude. I
That's,
have no idea how many I have no idea how there were that many people there because I didn't invite that many people. I think I invited maybe like eight people, 10 people. And then like if you watch that video, there's like fucking 30 people there.
yeah.
And I know I'm a lightweight, so like I held off on my drinking and I told Brittany, I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna drink anything until people start to show up and I start to grill the burgers." And then that is the last memory that I have of the entire night was grilling hamburgers. And that was at like 5:00.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I fucking remember. Everything else is black. It's gone.
I mean, I believe it. The numbers, people show up. There's a bunch of guys just sitting in the barracks waiting for a text like that to
Oh yeah.
fill a beer somewhere.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to find another picture too. The same shit happened to me again in Hawaii. It was the first time I'd ever had midnight moonshine, the jarred moonshine you can buy in the store.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All I had was a quart of it, but that quart was enough to get the job done. The last thing that I remember was like laying down in the parking lot playing with someone's dog in the barracks. And then the next thing I did, I woke up in the morning in my bed. I'm like, how the fuck did I get here, bro? And they were like, the duty carried you. I said, shut the fuck up. He did not. So then I start getting pictures of the duty firemen's carrying me up to my room. And the whole time I'm like looking back, cheesing like I just won the fucking lottery. And then apparently I pissed in the corner of the room and then I fell asleep under the sink. Yeah.
Amen.
I was like, no, I didn't. That didn't happen. They're like, yeah, I did. Why do you think there's paper towels and fucking Ajax in the corner? I was like, God damn, I'm so sorry, guys.
Man, I feel like you could like write a book, like a short story book or something about all the nights on duty. Like I didn't really mind having duty on the weekend because there's going to be something like that. Like I definitely have carried guys to their room.
Yeah.
You know, you break up fights. Like I almost preferred it on like a Friday or Saturday night instead of just like a Tuesday night where everyone's sleeping and then you're sitting there staring at the wall. You know, I'd rather there be something kind of going on.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Nick? You were there. Do you remember Mulheron?
Well, yeah.
That guy. You want to talk about a fucking a libo risk? Like that dude. That dude was insane. The stories that I've heard about that guy, like, are he's not human.
Yeah. I didn't have too many interactions, but yeah, I heard a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I'll have to find these pictures and send them to you guys in the group chat because I can't find them right now. I have no idea what fucking folder they're in, but it's funny. It's funny as shit.
Yeah, man.
You guys, you want to take like a 5 minute pause? I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
gonna
fine.
hit. I got.
Yeah, I have no idea where that fucking picture's at.
You know, one of my one of my biggest regrets, and we were talking to on the last episode, our buddy Zach Love. He's a staff sergeant right now, and he was saying one of the things he's battling is a lot of guy like the social media generation. Everyone's trying to film everything and post everything, but I do regret not taking more pictures and videos when we were able to. I'm not saying I want to like we got back on Instagram for the podcast, but I don't have one for like personal use. Like
Yeah,
I just want I just wish I had more of the memories like documented. And
yeah,
I think
100%.
and that's where the podcast has stemmed from a little bit. Like we're there's a lot more um there's a lot more life left to live, but like we kind of like to take this pause and like start to remember some of these things before you know like, before we just forget it all. It's
So
already started.
like the I'm like the cadre fucking photographer.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
oh yeah, not officially, but like I'll take pictures of people like throughout the
Mhm.
training events. Like if they're instructing a class or if they're doing a demo, like I'll get down, I'll take pictures and videos because I like the pictures and videos, man. Like I think it's
Yeah,
important that you need to remember that kind of shit.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Oh, dude.
yeah, yeah. Have no recollection of that one whatsoever.
But those pictures, man, those are priceless.
Fucking
And
Hawaii, man.
if you want to, like, it doesn't even have to be tonight. It could be tomorrow. Or I'll probably edit this in the next few days or something. But if you send me any of those pictures, like, I can overlay them so then it looks like people will be able to see it better too.
All right.
Um, Instead of just looking at our faces the whole time. Sometimes I throw some pictures in there if anyone watches on YouTube. But um, I don't know. I do. I want to. I like hearing stories about some of the other guys and getting that opportunity to like we were just talking about with pictures and videos, but this is documenting those stories. So I want to give you a chance to highlight just some of the people that you worked with,
Hmm.
and starting from. I'm curious about someone who was one of your subordinates. Say you were a team leader, squad leader, one of the guys you had below you. Was there anything that you learned from a junior Marine? And we talked about it earlier in the conversation where for a while it's like shut the fuck up, like I deployed, you didn't, or I have a combat action ribbon and you don't. But then I feel like at some point there was a shift and it's like, that private that doesn't say anything, he might be smart as fuck. So maybe, we'll get his input every now and then during an order process. Or is there anything that stuck out to you like that, where there was a guy that you were really impressed with that you learned something from, even though you might have been in charge of him?
I can't think of anything. And this kind of comes off as like arrogant, but I can't think of anything up until the point where I was a gunny. But once I got to SOI and like for IMC, kind of backtracking a little bit, for IMC you had the the squad instructors per platoon. There was a platoon sergeant, and then at the company level you had your ops chief, who's your company gunny, and then you had your chief instructor, who is a gunny, and he controls the POI and like makes sure that everyone's within the hours and they're following a schedule and so on and so forth. whenever we stood up Echo Company again, um, I wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for the sergeants. Just overall, there were two of them. They're both staff sergeants now. Um, I would say there's three people that really kind of held it down for me and kept me grounded and made me successful. One of them's in Pendleton right now. You going to bed? All right, love you. One of them is in Pendleton right now. Staff Sergeant Jordan Carroll. One of them's over here still on the East Coast. Teddy Purcell's, and my really good friend is now he just got selected for Gunny. Sean O'Neill. If it wasn't for those dudes, like, and I was a Gunny, one was a staff sergeant, two of them were sergeants. But one was a 2-term combat instructor, so like he knew it all, right? So what he was here his first time, he was here when IMC first started, so he knew the ins and outs of the POI. He was invaluable. He still is. The dude comes through for me all the time. And then the other two guys, they have just been here for forever, like three and a half years, right? So 3.5 years of being a combat instructor. They had been here through BIM. They had been here through the startup of IMC, and they just knew everything. And those were the dudes that I would always go to with questions, or if something hit a snag and he's like, "Hey, Gunny, do you want me to do this like the efficient way?" And I'm like, "Yes," and he would immediately know what to do. So that was another big turning point for me. It's like you're never too senior to learn something from someone. You're a constant student, and I am not always like that. Sometimes I'm an arrogant asshole, but being here has definitely helped a lot when it comes to trusting your subordinates, because some of the dudes have been here longer than you. Plain and simple, they've done this more than you, and they know what to do. So I think SOI kind of helped me a lot when it comes to that one. There were some sergeants and staff sergeants when I was a gunny that really showed me the ropes and taught me a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, I hit the big three: Pendleton, 29 Palms, and then Lejeune. And what I saw is, yeah, you might have the rank, but if you're going to a different base, like there's ranges and there's just everything that you haven't done before. And like
Yeah,
for me, like Nick was one of those guys. Like, yeah, I was his section leader, but I was always like, hey, like we're going to this range, like, well, I've never been there before. Like I had to get his input or other guys' input.
yeah.
um but no, I'm always I'm I'm always curious about those kind of things, because as we were, trial and error, trying to become better leaders and stuff. And um, I know I definitely had different times where it was kind of like you don't you don't want to seem like you don't know. Like in your position as a gunny, it's like, oh, he should fucking know everything. But if you hadn't been to SOI, you hadn't been in that assignment before, so you gotta take that humble pill and be like, all right, Sergeant, like, how does this work? Like, that's that had to be tough.
Well, I got to 29 Palms as a corporal.
Yeah.
And 29 Palms was a big culture shift for me. I can't remember his name. uh, but we were so when I got to 29 Palms, I ended up I had to be a PSO for the battalion on 401 Alpha or 401 or range 400, one of the two, one of those big fuck off ranges. I ran that
Yeah.
range like 30 times in a week.
Oh.
It was miserable. But in between one of those ranges, one of the weapons dudes he had his fucking and I still hate to this day, but he had his fucking 8-point on like this. And I was like, fix your fucking cover.
Oh yeah.
And instead of him saying anything, he just looked at me and was like, okay. I was like, I'm about to fuck you up, brother. Like, fix your cover. And that was when I realized like 29 Palms was a different beast.
Mm.
And then I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember Baggage?
Hmm.
The name
Alan
sounds
Baggage.
familiar. The
It
name
sounds
sounds.
familiar. I can't put a face to the name though.
Yeah.
So he was one of those guys for me. I was a corporal, he was a lance corporal, and that dude gave me the rundown. Like 29 palms, here's where everything is at. This is what you can do. This is where you can go. These are the ranges that we like to do a lot of. This is how you execute those ranges. And he was smart as fuck too. So it's like any questions that I might have had in technical or tactical proficiency, like if I didn't know it and I couldn't find it, 99% of the time that dude knew the answer. So I would say he's another one too. Like he was a big, and turned out to be a really good friend of mine. I talk to him every now and again, but not nearly as much as I would like. Um, but yeah, even as a lance corporal to a corporal, he was helping me. He was teaching me shit. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter kind of what level you're at. There's always going to be someone that can teach you something.
Yeah, definitely true. Going back to
Still here. I just gotta grab something.
all right, going back to like your earlier deployments, what what stuck out to you as like um a meaningful action or mission, like when you got, if whether it was Afghanistan or you know, maybe Kuwait, but probably not. But was there something that happened where you felt like, all right, this is important, like I'm making a difference in the world, improving the lives of others? Like, did you have any moment like that where you're like, all right, this, like, I'm glad I'm doing this?
Mm, honestly, right now I'd probably say no. I don't think that anything that I did on any of my deployments really made an impact for anybody, right? So my first two were the only ones that could have really made an impact on anyone. Um, but like in Afghanistan, dude, it doesn't matter what you do. Like they only care about what you can do for them, right? So it's not, you can do your best to build relations with the populace, but in reality, they're just manipulating you to get what they want. So no, I don't think that there was any deployment or mission specific thing that I've done in my career where I was like, I'm making a difference. Maybe I was doing something wrong, um, or maybe I just wasn't ever put in a position to where I could really influence change. On my second deployment, we had a lot of there was a lot of contracts that were kind of going out to like build bridges and buildings and schools and shit. But in reality, it didn't matter because we didn't cleanse the area of the Taliban, and we never were going to. So I mean, as long as they're still present, you could build schools. You can do
Mm,
all you want, but
Right.
no one's going to go to the fucking school.
Right.
So
yeah,
a lot. I don't know. I'm not going to say it was all worthless because I guarantee there's somebody that it made a difference. You know, maybe somebody saw us and was like, I want to get out of Afghanistan and do something different with my life.
yeah.
Hopefully, that's all you can kind of hope for. But direct direct influence where I saw change, I can't place anything right now. No.
Fair enough.
I'm curious your thoughts on everything that's played out with, because me and Nick, we're just based on age and units we went to. We never made it through Afghanistan, but I will say, like in Iraq, similar experience with, you were talking about the kid with the owl. We had our turret gunners would like throw a box of Cheez-Its to these kids, and they act like, they just it's a box of Cheez-Its, but to them it was, we could have given them $1 million.
Yeah.
Like they're running around screaming, and I know a lot of veterans, especially Afghanistan veterans, have struggled with, how everything ended, and how things are looking over there now. Um, but the way I can't take credit for this way of thinking. This was something that was I heard um, from something I had read, but the way it was posed was like if a patient comes in with cancer and the doctor battles the cancer for 20 years and then the patient dies, um, nobody's sitting there to the doctor like, what the fuck, why'd you even try? It's still held off that cancer for 20 years. And I kind of, I like that analogy to it because it was, there was guys like yourself, just like good dudes out there trying to do something. Same with Iraq. And I was there way after, way after the game, but it was like it felt like we're not going to beat the cancer. Like eventually, it's going to take over. But like you said, maybe someone decided to leave the country. Maybe people had the chance to go to a couple years of that school and do something. So I don't know. I can't speak on it because I never went to Afghanistan. But I wish guys would maybe see it a little bit differently, that it wasn't just a complete waste of time. Because yeah, it's like now the Taliban has all of our shit or what, but it was still like that cancer was held back for all those years, and it did make a difference. Like even for me, those kids in Iraq, it's like they wouldn't even have the opportunity to eat those Cheez-Its, as stupid and silly as that is. Like,
Mm.
um, we made a difference, but we don't get to make the decisions of what happens to the country at the end of the day. But um,
Yeah, there's things that are in place that I can't talk on. Um, that I think if we were allowed a little bit more freedom of maneuver, we could have made a huge difference.
mm,
Uh, but with the mindset you're talking about, I mean, yeah, if that's how you want to spin it, then yeah, I made a difference in the kids, right?
mhm,
The adults they're in their ways, man. Like they've been living that harsh ass lifestyle for decades. They're not going to change. They don't give a fuck who you are. But the
yeah,
kids, they're like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. They see this fucking white dude rolling up in battle rattle, and they're like, "Whoa, what is that?" And then this dude that they've never met, who is a foreigner, right? So my first deployment, I got asked by a couple people like if I was Russian. I was like, "No, I'm not fucking Russian. I mean, the
yeah,
goddamn United States of America," you know. But they don't know any better. That's how isolated they are. So
right,
the fact that they still thought that the Russians were in their country, and then we're all patrolling through, and like I've got a bag of candy in my dump pouch, and I'm just kind of handing out Smarties and Dum Dums to these fucking kids. Yeah, I think I made a difference. Like I made some kids happy, but at the same time, I'm handing out candy to these kids, and I've got parents that are coming out of compounds, smacking their kids and taking their fucking candy from them. It's
yeah,
very fleeting, and I think that's the hard part to what's the word I'm looking for? To digest. It,
Yeah.
it was all fleeting, right? So I didn't do a bunch of deployments, so I can't speak on if a battalion was in the same AO over and over and over again. I can't
mm,
speak if that would have made a difference. But my first deployment, it was fleeting. My second deployment was fleeting, and then after that, because it was two very different areas, both first and second
mhm.
deployment. So I can't really speak on if I made a huge difference or not. I don't think that we did.
Yeah. I think that's a hard thing. You're not just gonna go back and check like that kid with the owl. You can't see what he's up to now and
Yeah,
things like that. I felt that way even with the interpreters. We had this dude with us, his code name Daryl, coming out. Like this dude was badass, and it's like I hope he's doing good now, but I always wondered if there was a way to kind of like close that loop, or you know I guess we'll just always kind of be wondering. uh or you see a little snippet on the news and whatnot. But
I think
Yeah.
that if, and obviously it's not possible, at least in my eyes, but for like World War II and Vietnam and shit, like a lot of the American servicemen were able to kind of link back up with their counterparts, right?
yeah,
They would have meetings in Normandy, for example, and meet up with like Wehrmacht guys who fought them at the Normandy landings, and they were able to like crush any kind of beef they had and just be thankful they were alive and like reminisce on what was presented to them at the time. I I
mhm,
don't think that I don't think that our generation of servicemen have that ability, right? A fucking in some parts probably, right? I'm not going to say the entire country, but the majority of Afghanistan and Iraq, it's probably not very recommended that a Westerner just kind of walks up in that place and was just starts walking around fucking Sangin, you know, or Tracknawa. It's just not. It's not possible, right? So you can't get that bit of closure. That's the word I was looking for. Closure. They were able to get closure.
yeah,
Our generation of guys can't get closure because what piece of innocence that they had is left in that place and they can never see it again. And I'm not sitting here trying to say like I saw all the fucking combat and all that kind of that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for the vast majority of veterans, they aren't
mhm.
able to get that clarity and that closure. I think that would help a lot, but we can't get it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the opening scene in Saving Private Ryan. He goes back as an old man to Normandy,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a cemetery and memorial, and but it's like I can't picture a future where guys are going back into Fallujah.
No.
Like it's not that's not gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good way to put it, though. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You can't just fucking walk back in that place. It's not like where you can go back to Normandy and talk to the people and it's done and over.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that who knows if it'll ever fucking be over. You know,
Probably not.
yeah.
What's kind of the talk right now? Um, and to any of our listeners that aren't from the military, you go through all these years, and there's just rumors nonstop. We're going to this country, doing. Everyone's kind of gearing up for the next thing. But what is the talk around the Marine Corps right now? Like, obviously, Russia, China is always, yeah, but is there anything like what is the Marine Corps training for right now? Um, Obviously, you cover all the bases. We know work up, trench warfare, urban combat, but for us we're out in the civilian world now. What's kind of the insight without if you can't give certain things away, but what's the talk in the town right now?
Um, I feel like that's the downfall of being in the military is I really don't know what has been made public knowledge and what hasn't. Um, I guess one of the things that's public because it's on fucking Marines.mil, but like the schools that we have at SOI, they are incorporating a lot of new things into like small unit leaders. The ISOLC and TSOLC shit that you guys had when you were in is like not even a, a fucking smidgen of what it is now. It is so beefed up. They're teaching so much more stuff. How to operate like within specific spectrums and like I said, snipers has gone away now, but now they have scouts, which I couldn't tell you what scouts actually does. Um, there's SUAS, so like the Marine Corps is training fucking like company level drone operators and shit like that now. Uh, if I'm being honest, it kind of seems like the war in Ukraine and the as fast paced as it was with the evolution of weaponry, it kind of caught a lot of people by surprise. So I think there's a lot of catching up right now. Um, but I will say that it seems like that we're on the right path, kind for the most part, trying to get us kind of to where we need to be. I know IULC, for example, they're doing a lot of good, and I don't know if I can talk about theirs, so I won't. But they're doing a lot of good stuff. Like they're incorporating and building very qualified and capable unit leaders. So that's a nice change.
Yeah. What do you
Thinking about you know, it could be someone that was that you were in charge of, or someone that was in charge of you. What do you feel was the most heroic thing that you've ever seen? And I say that could be combat, could be as simple as a private telling a sergeant major that his boots are untied. You know what I mean? There's different kinds of courage, but what comes to mind where you were like, "Holy fuck, that guy's a badass."
um, I wouldn't say necessarily heroic, but there was a specific leader that I had in Hawaii that I hold in very high regard. I had one of my, and this is all hearsay, right? Because I don't know 100%,
Hmm.
but I had one of my junior guys that was caught fucking street racing as he was, and he got caught coming back into the gate, and he had an open case of beer in his car, underage, no open
Hmm.
containers, but open case of beer. Either way, he had beer and he was underage, was driving fucking radically and doing all kinds. They were about to fry his ass. So PMO apparently called the front gate or called the OOD and was like, "Hey, this is going on. This is who it is. This, that, and the other." So he logs the shit in the book, and this person, um, and I want to tell this story, but I don't know like a statute of limitations or some shit.
Uh, we could we'll send this to you before we post it, and you can tell us anything that needs to get cut.
I'll say that the incident it was made to disappear. I'll say that. Yeah. That kid got fucked up for a long time, but he was a very firm believer in we were all young, we were going to make mistakes, and you can't let one mistake fucking dictate your entire path.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that that was something that was really fucking cool
Yeah.
and morally courageous in my eyes. That he was willing to
Yeah.
kind of risk himself and to look out for one of his fucking Marines. The other one, we were at. This was my workup for my second deployment, I believe. No, it was my third. So Monahan died before the second deployment because that would have been. Yeah, it was my workup for my third. We were at ITX. We were doing a battalion defense, and I don't remember how we got there. If it was trucks or hiking, either way, you know how shitty it is to fucking dig a defense in 29 Palms. But
Yeah.
we were out there digging our fucking holes, and we got put in a really bad area that had a lot of bedrock. So dudes weren't getting very far down at all. And off in the distance, because we were going to do like our FEX at the very end, we were going to have tanks and all kinds of shit. And excuse me, there was a bulldozer off in the distance building tank targets. I think that's what he was doing. Either way, long story short, all that shit's going on. We're getting set in the defense. I'm setting my guys in. They get their stuff down, and we knock down to 50 or 25% security. So dudes are getting some shut eye, but also still digging their holes.
Hmm.
And I was only in a skirmisher behind my first fire tier in the middle of my squad. and I was probably 30 feet away from where this happened. And it was Jet. His name was Jet Cack, and he was in the hole in a skirmisher with his fucking best friend Casey Holmes. And I don't know exactly what happened because they never actually told us. But either way,
Mm.
we had tracks that were integrated in our defense. But this bulldozer flipped a bitch and came back towards us and went through our lines and ran over Holmes in his skirmisher and killed him.
Holy shit.
And I woke up to like hearing the bulldozer, and then I heard my really good buddy at the time, Joel Christensen, was yelling Corman. Was telling everybody get the fuck up, get out of the way. Was yelling for Corman, and I remember looking over, and I wore glasses back then, and I see this fucking blur, and you sleep in 29 Palms, you're always covered in fucking dirt. So I'm like trying to wipe the fucking dirt off my face and my eyes and shit, put my glasses on. And I remember seeing him like beating on the fucking bulldozer. At least that's what I remember seeing. And telling this dude to like fuck off and like back up. And then after that, everything was kind of a blur because I was trying to like herd the cats and get everybody away from the situation. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a natural born leader, like straight up natural born fucking leader. Great dude. And he just kind of took control of the situation until someone else got there and called for the corpsman. Corpsman came up, and there was nothing that he could have done. He was dead, and it absolute fucking tragedy. But yeah, seeing him just kind of like do his thing and be who he was, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something no one's ever planning for
No,
in a training environment. What 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 happened with this bulldozer driver? Was it a Marine or was it
yeah, he's a heavy equipment operator. But
Jesus.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, that I remember them moving the bulldozer. I don't remember how far away. And again, it's hard to remember everything because that was fucking like 13 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
um, and then I remember the NCIS helicopter coming down right behind us, or right behind our defense. They did their thing. They medevaced him out of there, and I remember after everything was kind of said and done, our corpsman, Scott Mattingly, the dude I was talking about earlier in that picture, um, he was fucked up. And I was like, dude, are you okay? And he was like, there was nothing that I tried. There was nothing that I could have done. He said his head was shaped like a diamond. There was nothing that I could do.
Hmm.
And I just remember giving him a big hug, and he kind of broke down a little bit and started to cry, and then brought it back in. And then I remember the company commander, fucking guy. He brought the whole company in, school circle, and this dude was the biggest piece of shit that I've ever met outside of one person in my entire career. Worst fucking commander I've ever had. And could guarantee that he had no idea who this Marine was prior to this event. And then as he's addressing the company, he's like, oh, Casey would want us to keep training, and Casey would want us to do this, and Casey would want us to do that. And it's like, we're all kind of looking at each other. It's like, you don't even fucking know who we are. We're just
Yeah.
pawns in your fucking
Yeah.
chess game, man. And that was pretty shitty. He ended up getting fired on that deployment anyway, so good riddance.
Yeah. Damn.
That's that's terrible to hear. That it's something in training, just a complete accident. That's
Yeah. But kind of backtracking again, how I was saying, like, we were at that 29 Palms and that event happened. We were in the field, had no cell service,
Mhm.
and the company commander was going to let our entire platoon go to the funeral, and it was all the way up in Chico, California, which was fucking hella far. But they got us a
Where's
bus and everything. But I remember we all got transpoed back to camp main side 29 Palms, so we can go to the PX to buy clothes for the funeral. And I remember getting phone service, and I called my ex wife at the time, or my wife at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I just wanted to kind of call and talk to you. This is what's going on. Uh, I'm in a pretty shitty spot right now." And that's when she was like, "I think we need to take a break." And I'm like, "Cool, appreciate you. Great timing."
Wow. Holy shit.
that's
Yeah, that was a pretty good point in my life.
that's
But
totally appreciate.
it was really good getting to being able to go to the funeral like that. I haven't talked to them in a really long time, but I guarantee that I could reach out to his mom on Facebook and just be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she's gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's been so long. How are you?" But
Yeah.
she kept in touch with all of us for the longest time, and then life happened, and it's hard to keep track of and keep talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's going back to kind of why we started this thing. It's like it would take me a month to call everybody,
Yeah,
and but we can just kind of do an episode every couple weeks, and people, that's the cool thing about it. Like how your one of your old team leaders who took that picture um, can kind of catch up, and he might, he'll probably listen to this and see how you're doing rather, and then obviously the guys from 37 India and everything in between. I like doing this. It's the phone calls we should be making, but we never have time for. But then we call it a podcast, and now all of a sudden we have time for it. But
yeah,
I'm okay with that if that's what we got to do. you know.
yeah, yeah. I try to
Um,
I keep in touch with. I would say probably maybe a quarter of all the dudes that I've served with. It's just fucking hard, man. Like
Yeah.
it's really hard. But the ones that have made the most impact on me, I think that I keep up with the most. Like so, Jake Fisher, uh,
mhm.
he was my very first uh, team leader. He was my very first A slash, and the dude was just a fucking hitter, absolute hitter. I had no problem at any time where I was like, "Hey, I got to go do this, or I can't be here. You got it," and I was never worried about the squad. Um, he was a great fucking human being. And then I still talk to. I don't know if you guys remember Lewis. Remember LeVar Lewis?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I talked to him. Actually, I've talked to him quite a bit since I've been in North Carolina. Just kind of seeing how he's doing. Uh,
Is he still in too?
no, he just got out, man.
Oh,
Yeah, he got medically separated, I think.
oh wow.
Yeah, his back was all fucked up.
Yeah, he's a solid dude. He was on that Iraq deployment with me, Kevin Moore, um, bunch of those guys. I mean, I don't want to start naming names because then I might forget somebody, and then
Yeah,
they'll
I
forget.
talk to Moore
But
every now and again on Facebook or on not Facebook but Snapchat.
yeah,
Every now and again, I'll just kind of I'll shoot a text out to someone and ask how they're doing, but it's just hard, man. There's too many people, and I can't. It sounds shitty, but it's like I've got a family that I've got to take care of and give my heart to, give my mind to, and it's hard to do that while also giving my heart and mind to so many other people. And I know how that sounds. It sounds really shitty, but
No,
you don't
it's the
really
truth.
understand it until you have a family and kids of your own.
Yeah, it's the
yeah,
truth,
it's
man.
it's totally. I mean, I've always felt like I was good at keeping in touch with everybody a couple of years after, but then like I told you earlier, it's we got two babies now, a wife, we got two dogs. It's I don't- that's why we're motivated with this to keep doing these episodes, because like every 2 weeks I'm making a phone call that I probably would have told myself I don't have time for, but
Yeah.
you know we can squeeze it in, and we're trying.
Yeah. I'll see something on Facebook and I'll shoot somebody a message, just kind of see how they're doing or whatever the case is. Or somebody will respond to a story I put on Snapchat, and then I'll kind of chop it up with them for a little bit. But it's nothing crazy. But whenever I get a call from somebody, I I try my damnedest to take the call. Um,
Oh yeah,
because I've had a couple calls from people in the past that it's just like, I'm not saying that I might have taken them off the edge, but I kind of had the gut feeling that I might have taken them off the edge. So it's
Yeah.
like being able to talk to people and let them know that they're not alone. I think that's the important part. That's what I like the most about this podcast too. It's like it's letting you know you're not alone. You know, like the brotherhood is still
yeah,
there, and a lot of people lose sight of that when they get out because they don't see those people every day. But something as simple as a podcast where you sit down with somebody for 2.5, 3 hours and just shoot the shit and just reminisce and catch up. And
Yeah.
then you bring up all the good memories that they had about like all the goofy shit we did in the barracks or the goofy shit we did in Palm Springs or fucking San Diego, you know? It's like, okay,
yeah,
my life hasn't been always bad. You know, like I've had really good times. I have really good people that are still there. So I think what you're doing is a really fucking good thing.
Thank you, man.
yeah, man. I appreciate it, and you're absolutely right. We can say from uh, being on the other side of things, it's everyone's got the grass is always greener. You know, everyone wanted to get out for different reasons, and then you have a map of the United States and you shoot a shotgun at that map, and that's where everybody went to.
Yeah.
So everyone's back at their hometowns, random spots. You're not, you'll never be in the barracks again, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like guys kind of forget, they lose that pride, um, and that's why I like these things because maybe someone hears their name mentioned, and then they go tell their wife about it, or they're proud. They're like, "Oh yeah, I did do that shit." Like, yeah, we were in Kuwait. It sucked, but like, we can look back and laugh, and you could have been sitting in a classroom, or you could be out at Camp Buring, taking a shit in a hole that you dug.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick your poison.
Yeah. Or fucking outside of our hooches, fucking playing volleyball at 2200 while fucking Uncle Andy's laughing like fucking Saint Nick.
Yeah,
I miss that fucking guy, man. I miss him a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely do as well, and that, I'm glad we got to go there when we all went down to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
I wanted to go to Childress's as well, but I couldn't take leave so close. Yeah, I just had too much shit going on
yeah,
at work.
yeah. I was deployed during that. That was I didn't find out about that until like a month after it happened because
Yeah.
that was our COVID cruise. And I don't want to get into all that, but
Yeah.
you know,
I went
we got
over
on
there for
ship.
good shit. He lived in Richmond, and that's fucking 45 minutes, from my house, which is also crazy that happens in the military. You meet people that fucking lived, 30 to 45 to an hour away from you, and you're like, what the fuck? And you meet them
Yeah.
halfway across the United States.
Yeah. Had no idea.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
I think,
it's sad, man. That people get to that point, that
yeah,
that's their only way out. Fuck, dude. At this point, I'm easily in the double digits of people that I know that have either died from dumb shit or suicide. So
yeah,
hopefully this podcast kind of gets out there and gives people hope.
yeah. I hope it does.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling. I don't want to say we're trying to take on that responsibility of like providing the hope, but you know, I mean,
Well, the brotherhood never dies, man.
the guests,
Mm,
I see it more as the guests, like having you on the show, having some of the other guys we've had, and more people to come in the future. We've got a list lined up, and like I said, it's just cool to play it back, and you know, everyone you get married, you go back to your hometown, and you don't find opportunities to like just start talking about this stuff, but you can say like, hey, my old squad leader James Horton is on this podcast. Like, you should check it out. Like, this is one of the guys I worked with.
Yeah.
It's easier for me, I could tell my mom to like go, hey, go listen to this guy, rather than me try to find the opportunity to like talk about different things. But that's why we like it, man. We're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, we're not stopping.
Things are getting easier. Like I said, we took a pause. Like, we started with Walker, and then boom, I got two babies. Or Nick had a baby. Like, his daughter's like a month older than my two daughters, and so like you said, you gotta pull back, focus on the family. You got to be a little bit selfish. Like, yes, I'm still going to answer those phone calls. My phone's next to my bed. If it rings at 3 in the morning, like, you're going to answer that. But we did have to take that pause and like pull back and focus on our families for a while. But now things are getting easier. We're keeping you up late because we wait. We're just, once the babies go to bed, it's like, all right, now we could do the podcast. But
I'm good. I don't have free reign right now, but I don't have to be quiet like I do. The boys are asleep, but Brittany and the baby are they're in Texas visiting family right now. So I don't got
okay.
7 o'clock fucking bedtime tonight with a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, my girls are in the room right behind me, so that's why I'm not screaming anything too loud. But
I
but
can't
no,
I
it
can't
works.
take you seriously when you talk because you don't have the giant upper decker in.
That's the staple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
man.
was Dave in any brief in anywhere 29 pause.
Yeah, dude. That's when I checked in. The Sean Childress, going back to him, he swore that I had like an upper bite or something. He thought he, he thought there was something wrong with me. Uh,
That dude could be so smart and was so fucking stupid at the same time. I love it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, the classic. There's yeah, countless pictures. But no, I mean, I've switched over, got some little. I was telling Nick before the show, back to just like some nicotine pouches. Nicotine's one of those. That's like the final demon you have to slay. Like, getting off alcohol is not that hard. But nicotine, it's like people. I've throughout the Marine Corps. You know I started using nicotine in high school. Like, I should have quit after boot camp. You have those 3 months where you're clean at boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
but then I went right back to it because I was a 19-year-old
Couldn't
dumbass.
wait.
I smoked a
First
fucking
day
cigarette
after.
at graduation. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't fucking wait.
yeah,
yeah,
I'm still on the old welfare bear, man. It's not the welfare bear anymore. That shit's $5 a can. But
yeah,
between those and like, I don't drink, dude. So like, I don't have any vices. I don't. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Very rarely will I smoke, and that's just if I'm having a real shitty day. I'll sit out on the porch and smoke with Brittany.
hmm
But fucking energy drinks, dude. Energy drinks got to
yeah,
grip my soul. It's fucking bad, especially being here. Like, I live in a perpetual state of fucking exhaustion at SOI. So it's just like I wake up in the morning, I drink my coffee. I get to work, I work out, I take pre-workout. After the workout, about an hour and a half, I crack an energy drink. It's like, god damn, that's my daily fucking intake of caffeine in the first 4 hours.
yeah. And I used to think it was just the military, but now I've been out in the civilian world for a few years, and it's everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for a while I was in Georgia, and I was working at this gym where these guys, like, student athletes would come in, these kids, they're like 15, 16 years old, and they're drinking like three, what were those? Not Bang, but
Rains.
Rains.
Rain. It might have been Rain, or no, the
Yeah.
Ghost
Those
energy drinks.
those
These
will
guys
fucking
would
make you see sounds, bro.
Yeah, you drink one too many of them, you fucking turn into a ghost.
these
Yes.
kids would come in. They come in to like lift some weights, and he's like, "I've had three ghost drinks today while I was at school." I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then they go like squat 500 pounds, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Who am I to say?"
I guess, man.
Yeah,
You know, just heart failure, fucking when you're 17.
it is, man. The caffeine is taking a hold on everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, question for you. When you were in 1-8, right?
Me?
Yeah,
No. My first unit was 2.5 in Pendleton, and then 3.7 with you guys, and then after that, I went to 2.8
2-8.
in
Okay.
June. Yeah,
And you and Kevin were in the same battalion, yeah?
yeah, and then yeah,
Okay.
we were
If you
with
were in 1-8, I was going to ask if you knew somebody, but he was in, or in two. Yeah, if you were in 1-8, but you were 2-8, so never mind.
yeah.
Well, I don't know, gentlemen. We want to wrap it up here and stage for a part two.
Up to you guys, man. I'm down to fuck.
Yeah, but we,
Dave's got to get to bed. He's got fucking he's got a bedtime these days.
yeah. Well, we kind of trade off.
Bust open the door at 5 in the morning, and fucking in a full sprint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah. That's
diving into the bed.
he's got it tougher with the 5-year-old to come running in, but I don't know. Me and my wife do a good system. We trade like I I did a wake up last night. I think it was like 3:30. Both babies started crying, and so I roll out. But then she's taking the shift tonight because she knows the podcast is important, and
Take
we
your
didn't know if we are gonna go.
posting up over there for the babies.
Yeah, we make a roster. Because we don't know, the podcast might be an hour, it might be 5 hours, so it's like and this is the only time I really, like we said, we don't get to do this often, so she
Yeah,
understands. It's like they get one night every. If we're trying to do every 2 weeks, do an episode, but
Yeah,
okay.
for a while it was like once a
once
month
every three
or
months.
like yeah. But we're really trying to pick up the pace because we have a list we're going through, and not just military guys. There's um, all kinds of people we want to
Yeah.
talk to and learn from because it is the military is tough, and it's a very unique experience. But there's a lot of other people out there with very unique jobs that are also difficult, and they encounter difficult things every day. So we're we're talking. We want to talk to everyone and anybody, but obviously the beginning, it's all of our friends are Marines, so that's going to be
Yeah.
the bulk of it. Um,
Well, if there's going to be, if the intent for this is to kind of like get the word out there and let people know that the brotherhood's still there and the support is behind you.
mhm.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not trying to turn this into like a fucking pep talk or anything, but fucking go talk to someone. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's so scared of. If I'm not going to sit here and say that I was the little engine that could, but uh, everyone's so scared about having that held over them, like, oh, I'm in therapy or I'm talking to a counselor.
Hmm.
Fuck, I am.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of it's kind of hit. Uh, I went through a pretty bad fucking slump. Like SOI has not been fun for me at all. Um, if we're gonna do a part two, I'll talk about that then. But SOI has not been fun, and I just kind of hit like a fucking breaking point where nothing was interesting me. Like I didn't want to wake up in the morning. I just wanted to fucking disappear. And like the one thing since I was a kid that has always been my escape from reality was like my video games, my Xbox. And I only get to
Yeah.
play one night a week, and that's on Saturdays. Whenever I put the baby down, me and Brittany put the baby down, I'll stay up. I'll stay up if I'm not completely beat, and I'll play my game till like fucking 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I'll get up and do my business on Sunday. But there for a couple months, I think, maybe not that much, but it was a good chunk of time where I didn't even care to play my game, and I was like, something's fucking wrong. And Brittany was
Yeah.
like, yeah, something's wrong. It's like, you should go talk to someone. So I fucking took the step, and I went and talked to the MO up here at Geiger, and I had been in a bad place before when I was at Bridgeport, and I talked to somebody, and I sat down one time, and they did this really good fucking write up on me about signs, symptoms, and this, that, and the fucking third, and I was never told about it. Was never told
Hmm.
anything. Didn't tell me shit, and they put in my paperwork, among other things, was like chronic PTSD, military related, and uh, child trauma or childhood or something like that. And I'm like, well, that'd have been fucking nice to know. You know, I would have
Yeah.
pushed to do this more if I would have been told, but I wasn't told. So
Yeah.
I think it was, and I've only been a couple times. It started like back in last October, I think. Um, and I went for two or three sessions, and I was like, this feels really good to talk about some things, you know. And it wasn't anything crazy. She was just trying to see who I was and like understand me as a fucking person.
Hmm.
It was like just kind of asking questions and diving down some of these rabbit holes and shit. And then my doctor got sick, so she canceled one session, and then the second one got canceled. And I'm like, well, we're about to pick up a fucking cycle, so I can't go to this when I'm in the middle of a cycle. So I haven't been since December, November, December. So I'm hoping that if I don't have a squad this class, then I can start my appointments again. But yeah, man, there's no shame in it. I'm at
Yeah.
fucking 16 and some change, dude. Like I would much rather have some kind of stigma attached to my name and be a functional parent and a military member than succumb to something. And I'm not sitting here saying that like I'm having thoughts of self harm. I have my opinions on that, and I'll keep those to myself. Um, but I would and could never do it. But I don't give a fuck what people think of me anymore, dude. I really don't. If I'm healthy and I'm trying to be the best person that I can be for my family, that's the only thing that I really care about these days.
Yeah. It's an awesome message to get out there, man. It's true.
Yeah, it's well said. I and I've talked to people about that where it's like, I mean, physical pain is a whole nother side. It's like you don't want to go say your back hurts because you know you don't want to seem like a pussy or something. But then
Mhm.
mental health is a whole nother, um, you know, especially when guys are active duty. It's like, well, if I say something, they might take my gun away, and it's like
Yep.
that pride factor. Like bottle it up, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call that you never want to get again. And
Yeah.
I think that you said it well. It's go talk to somebody, whether, and there's different ways. Like I find there's a certain, you get something out of this when you're talking to some old friends, talking about old stories, but you also get something completely different of just talking to a stranger. Like you,
That's the big part is the stranger piece, right?
mhm,
Like I love you both to death, and I'll talk to you about a lot of shit. But there's certain things that I won't talk to you about because I don't want to tarnish who you see me as. You know, and I
right.
think that's a big piece. Is like nobody wants to have somebody look at them differently because of something they've been told. So that has been the biggest thing for me. Is like I was hesitant at first because like I don't want to talk about the shit that I know that it's hurting me
Hmm.
because I don't want to fucking hurt. I don't want to think about it. I just want to repress it all, you know?
Hmm.
Which is part of the fucking problem, dude. Like I don't have really any memories from before I moved away from California. So 7 years old and before, I have nothing. Like I've repressed everything, damn near. And like
Mhm.
I don't want that anymore. I don't want that baggage. I don't want that weight on my fucking shoulders. I just don't want it. So going and talking to that person, like I was hesitant. I didn't want to bring this shit up. And then one day I was like, fuck it, dude. Send it. She's like, where do you want to start? I said, just surprise me.
Yeah,
We're asking questions.
let it rip.
Yeah,
Emotions happened. It is what it is. But
yeah,
I don't give a fuck what this therapist thinks of me. You know, that's the whole purpose of me going there.
right.
So yeah, I think that's a big thing that people have to overcome is who cares, and
Yeah.
it's hard. I can vouch for it. It's fucking hard. I don't want like we'll say Jake Fisher for example, right? He says that I'm one of the best leaders that he's had. I don't want to, in my mind, right, my professional mind, my Marine mind, my leader mind. I don't want to show weakness in what I perceive as weakness. You know, I don't want someone that looks up to me to be like, damn, that guy can't fucking handle his shit. When I know deep down that's not the opinion, but you guys have all been in a leadership role too, and you know that that is inherent with the job.
Hmm.
That's how you are. Like you can't show them that anything's bothering you. You can't show them that you have demons. And I think that is a fucking fatal flaw that we have as Marines. Like we're taught to be prideful to the point of arrogance, and it hurts us. Plain and simple.
Agreed, brother.
Yeah. Well, I don't. It might be the best spot to close it.
Very well.
Some for people to think about, and we want to have you back
Yeah,
on the show. You got 3 or 4 more years. Um, more things are going to happen, and we want to hear about it. And it's all it's important. We have someone like you on the show that things go quiet, especially like you're still in, other guys get out, and you don't hear from them. But guys are going to listen to this, and like I said, those little things, like they tell their wife, "Hey, this is my squad leader," or "Hey, I knew this guy," or "Hey, I had a beer with this guy," and I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing some of these things.
yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Because I was like, me and Nick couldn't do this by ourselves. Like we're relying on 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 our friends, people like you to come on and keep it running. And hopefully this inspires more people to come on after you. So
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised when you guys asked, man. Like I told Brittany, I was like, get this shit. I got asked to be on a podcast and she was like, no fucking way. And I was like, yeah, dude, like I'm fucking pumped. I've been
well,
looking forward to this for a week.
don't show her our stats. She won't be as impressed. We got to build up the numbers, but it's getting
This
there.
isn't her type of podcast.
It's getting to who it needs to.
Yeah.
Like I said, most our big following right now is 3-7 India guys, but I sprinkled around to different units. Those guys, some of those guys are tuning in, and you touched a bunch of different units and duty stations, and it's going to spread, and eventually maybe we'll get some people on the show that we've never even met before, but we're running through all of our friends, family, what like everybody right now that we know, and it's really cool and it's fun. Um,
Yeah, I'm down to sit down and do it again whenever, man. Like the kind of more we would get talking would open up some doors and like uh gave me some more things that I kind of wish that I would talked about earlier, but definitely shit for another episode if I'm so honored.
so
No,
definitely,
get one again, man. We
definitely,
appreciate you.
you'll be back. As long as me and Nick keep our shit together and keep a good rotation. Hopefully, we don't take a few month gap again, but I don't see that happening.
The fact is that you don't quit doing it. Doesn't matter how
Yeah.
often you do it.
Yeah. But all right, man. Let's get some rest. Thank you for coming on. I'm glad we got to connect because, like I said, last I saw you was like 4 years ago
Yep.
in a barracks room on Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One of
maybe
the
next time.
nicest fucking barracks that I've ever stepped foot in.
Yeah. Yeah. We weren't in 29 Palms anymore. That was for sure.
No, that shit was nice. I was like, damn,
AC.
you guys are living over here? Shit. We just came from 29 Palms where our fucking floor tiles are falling off.
Yeah. Yeah. The air conditioning worked. Let
Yeah.
that sink in for a second.
Yeah. Air conditioning worked in the summer and you're allowed to open your windows
Yeah.
without fear of a fucking senior climbing up your fucking wall, like climbing through the But all right,
Yeah.
fellas. Like I said, it was an absolute fucking honor. Thank you guys for having me on here. So just let me know whenever you want to do it again.
Ooh,
And,
man, it was awesome catching up with you, brother.
yeah.
Likewise.
The honor is ours. And hopefully next time we can do this in person, sitting around a table. It'd be
God,
nice.
that'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
That'd be
We might
dangerous.
need to have a.
Especially if you guys have fucking alcohol. You get some drinks in me, I'll start talking some shit.
We're gonna need one of those flower pots on standby.
I'll just put it next to my chair. Or I'll put like a little harness, like a feed trough for a horse. Just
Yeah.
that's the place I throw. Just fucking lean down and go for it.
Hell yeah.
But,
Yeah,
all
man,
right,
that'd
boys.
be awesome.
Good talking to you guys. I'm glad you guys are doing good. I'm glad you guys have fucking families. Families are doing good.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger, man. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Likewise, brother.
All right, man.
Boys, take it easy.
Good night.